Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Oh my goodness, it's been a little while. Um, Congratulations to Jan for getting first. Oh my goodness, we still got second and we still got third. You guys may have noticed that some of the redeems and stuff have been removed for now. I'm just gonna remove them for the videos. When we switch over to Sims 4, where I can turn them back on. I just want to be able to focus on like the content and stuff. So a couple months ago, I emailed their Psych2Go's CEO and founder. I wanted to kind of get permission to stream some of their videos. My mindset was kind of like having it on while I make art because I can listen to like psychology stuff all day long and may as well make it educational. Um, but they actually reached back and they actually wanted me to react to it. So I was like, absolutely. Um, I've seen a little bit of their recent stuff. And it kind of seems like nowadays it's kind of hard to promote your stuff on YouTube. Um, as we all know, I stream on Twitch, but then I re-upload my videos to YouTube. So I can't even imagine. I mean, I've seen my channel not do so well as well. Um, so, anyways, I'm hoping to react to this and tell you guys a little bit about it. When I was younger, in like, oh, I don't know. I know definitely high school. I don't know about middle school, but definitely high school. I used to watch their videos all the time. I loved this channel. And I still really like it. Nowadays, I don't really watch YouTube very much. Um, so it's a little harder to kind of sit down and get myself to watch it. But I mean, these videos are, I think the longest one I've seen is like almost 8 minutes. So these are pretty short videos. I put together a lot of them for us to watch together. Basically, their whole thing is promoting like mental health and making it relatable and accessible to people through YouTube videos. I believe they only do YouTube. I don't see any links for anything else. I mean, they do have like an official website, they got like Facebook, they got a Discord, they got all kinds of things. Um, I did put a link to their YouTube in the pinned, so definitely go check them out. I'm not gonna obviously go through all their videos. Sometimes they also repeat videos, but like it's it's some of the same information, but it's drawn differently and presented a little different. A lot of the times, it's new information on top of some of the repeating facts, which I think is pretty cool. So I went through and handpicked a couple. Um, yeah, I mean, some of them are like, traits, like common traits associated with something. Sometimes it's just like, oh, like what your personality says about you or whatever. And some of them are like actually on like mental health disorders, so like ADHD, autism, depression. I mean, you name it, it covers it. Um, I like how individualized their videos are because I can sit there and just watch like a short video on ADHD specifically and learn more. I've picked out some goofier ones and I've picked out some harder ones as well to kind of listen to. Oh my goodness, welcome in, Miles. Congratulations on getting second. I hope you're doing well today. But some of the themes today are going to be a little harder. There's some topics like that are going to be covered, like abuse. What else? Manipulation. Um, I believe I have a couple videos on depression. Probably. Hold on, let me look through them. Um, I just want you guys to be like aware. So if you need to step away for some of these videos, definitely feel free. Because it might be hard to listen to. It shouldn't be like too aggressive. but it is gonna go over like what it's like a little bit, and it just might be a little triggering. I'm not sure. Not staying for long. Gotta do some shopping. Hell yeah! I hope you have a good time shopping. Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, some of these like a lot of it, well, a couple of them are based off of like childhood trauma or something like that. Again, it shouldn't go into too much detail, but it might be a lot. There's like I can't speak. There's like bipolar, schizophrenia, a lot of other topics that just might be difficult for some people. So just keep that in mind and feel free to step away if you need to step away. You're not obligated to sit here with me and watch these videos. But for the most part, they're pretty easygoing, and they're just trying to spread mental health awareness. Um, but I've picked out a lot because I love watching these videos. And I'll definitely be giving my own commentary, like, oh man, I relate to this. Now, as you guys also know, I just graduated with my bachelor's in psychology. I'm working on my master's in clinical mental health counseling. So I am not a professional. I don't really know too much about the individuals like making the video. They have like their own artists and everything, so I don't know like what their qualifications are. But I mean, I used to watch these videos all the time, and they seem pretty educational and pretty worth a watch. So I would say like they know quite a bit. But some of these videos, like it's like for instance, the first one we're gonna watch is based off of like sleeping position. So um, I don't really know too much, so I'm definitely not an expert, and I don't want to like display myself as one. I just want to kind of talk about it and talk about my experience. You guys are also free to kind of comment and talk about yours as well. I definitely want to avoid like re-traumatizing anyone though. So like only share what you're comfortable with sharing, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I definitely wanted to do one of these videos at least this month because it's mental health awareness, and it's really important. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. After this, we're gonna play some Sims 4. I don't know how long this is gonna take, so we'll see. I may not get through every video I want to get through, but we'll see. I need to full screen this because it will leak my entire legal name. I decided to use my main YouTube account because I have premium, so that way we don't have to sit through ads. I might sob if we have to do that. Let me just close this. Make sure I got this full screened. Okay. And then it should be in a playlist. If I have to like go through and like fix something, I'll probably just turn off my screen. So you guys don't see anything. But let's go ahead and switch over the screen. Now we're gonna have no music because the video is mainly gonna be playing, but I'll probably pause it every once in a while to talk, so that way I'm not talking over the video. I'm hoping that uh, the audio is like sharing with you guys, so we'll see. I have to make sure. I think I set it up right. Let me move myself over as well. Can I do that? There we go. Okay, so now I'm moved over. So you'll see most of the video. I'll just have to cover some of it. Okay. Let's see. So this first one, like I said, as you can see at the top, I thought this one was a good one to start with. I want to say this is one of their most like recent videos. I added in some older ones and some more recent ones. It's not super super recent, I don't think. But I thought this one was a good one to start with. I sleep very funky, and so I'm kind of curious if they even have my sleeping position. So, um, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I haven't watched any of these. I've watched maybe a little bit of some of them. Like, I don't think I've watched this one at all. So, we're gonna see. this is going to be just as much as a surprise for you as it is for me. But yeah, we're gonna. I also have what is it? Closed captions. I have to literally like pull it up because I can't remember. I have those on. I always keep those on. I'm sorry if that bothers you as well, but it helps me. So let's go ahead and start with this one. I don't think you can hear it actually. Hold on. Let me double check. Make sure I got. Okay, wait. Okay, now you should have the audio. Let me scroll back up. No, you don't. Okay, hold on. Sorry, a little technical difficulties as usual. Oh, there's like a couple different. No, this one says YouTube, so it should be working. But let's try this one instead. There we go. Okay, let me know if it's too loud or anything.
Hey there, Psych2Goers, and welcome back to our channel. Thank you all so much for the love that you've given us. Your ongoing support has helped us make psychology and mental health more accessible to everyone. So, thanks again. Now, let's continue. Did you know that your sleeping position can give some insight and clues into your personality? Experts such as Professor Chris Itzikowski have analyzed 6 common sleeping positions and linked each of them to a particular personality type.
I'm sorry, I'm already pausing it. I think that's so cool. Like they always like reference like actual professionals and stuff. Like if they don't already have some. This is so cool to me. I really like that because it's important that we're getting this information from actual professionals because just anyone can say anything about sleep or whatever, you know, a disorder or whatever. Like people can make stuff up. So I really like to have stuff where they're like fact checked. And that's like one thing that I really appreciate about this channel. I also like you'll notice the person speaking, I really like their tone. And they speak at a perfect pace. They have a very nice, calming tone, and I think that's amazing. Like that's perfect. Yeah, okay. We can go back to the
When
video
you
now.
sleep in a position that makes you feel the most comfortable, this conveys what is most comfortable for you. And because you do it unconsciously, it can be seen as an honest expression of your innermost self. Before we begin, we would like to mention that while there may not be a lot of rigorous research about the meaning behind your sleeping positions, experts agree that it gives us a very valuable glimpse into certain facets of our personality we may not even realize. So with that said, here are the 6 most common sleeping positions and what experts say your style says about you. Number 1. Fetal position. First and foremost is
I don't think I sleep like this.
or the fetal position, which is where a person sleeps curled on their side with their knees brought up close to their stomach or chest. According to a survey done by sleep specialist Chris Itzikowski, this was found to be by far the most popular sleeping position, with over 41% of people saying it was their preferred way of sleeping. Sleeping in this position gives you a certain sense of safety and comfort. It's believed that those who adopt this sleeping position tend to be shy, sensitive, and introverted. Calm and reliable people like this yearn to be protected, understood, and sympathized with. And though they may have a tough exterior, deep down inside they are some of the kindest, most gentle, and most soft-hearted people you will ever meet. Number 2.
I believe that, like, sorry. I want to like pause between each one. I believe that though. Like, I feel like I've slept like that maybe once, but I don't regularly sleep like that. And I believe that cuz like you're bringing your knees close into your chest, so like you're kind of like protecting that core area. I don't know. I feel like that makes a lot of sense. But I feel like a lot of psychology makes sense. So, okay, now we're going with stomach. Now, I have laid like this a lot. So this might be my position, but I'm not sure. I'm trying to like think. I feel like I lay like this a lot. Or maybe on my side. I'm sure they'll have one on the side.
Stomach. Also called the skydiver position. Sleeping on your
Skydiver.
stomach with your head to one side and your arms wrapped around a pillow often conveys an open and playful personality.
Oh.
Experts believe that people who like to sleep in this position tend to be fun-loving, brash, and straightforward.
Okay.
They like to take risks, but also have a strong need for control. Free-spirited and adventurous. They're also bold and sociable, but sensitive to criticism. Number 3.
That one might be me. I do not sleep on my back.
Is the sleepy soldier.
Sleepy
This is when
soldier.
you sleep flat on your back with your arms at your sides, as if standing at attention. Those who like to sleep in this position are said to have strong, silent personalities. They tend to be disciplined, hardworking, and self-motivated people who enjoy structure and take themselves very seriously. Many of them are also perfectionists and overachievers, with incredibly high expectations for both themselves and those around them. Number 4. On your side.
Okay, this one I do a
When
lot.
someone sleeps on their side, usually with their legs straight and their arms beneath their pillow, it means that they are sociable and easygoing.
Oh,
Also known as the log.
log.
This is found to be the second most popular position for sleep. This position is comfortable and relaxed, and people who like to sleep like this can be very talkative, charming, and friendly. Most of them
let's
tend to
go.
be trusting and warm, but also a bit gullible and naive.
Fuck.
Number 5. Shooting star. Sleeping on your back with your legs stretched out and your arms above your head is known as the shooting star or starfish position.
Huh.
A unique and unconventional sleeping position. People who like to sleep like this are shown to be very amiable, mild-mannered, and easy to get along with because of how trusting and open they are. They have no problem letting their guard down around others and have great communication skills that make them all the more likable. They're loyal and supportive friends who go out of their way to help the people they care about, which does
I'm kind of curious. These are all like very positive, and I'm wondering if there's like a negative sleeping position. I don't know. Anyway,
come as a surprise when you consider how their particular sleeping position makes it look like they're always reaching their arms out in a welcoming hug.
that's cute.
And number 6.
Raised leg.
Raised. If you tend to fall asleep with one of your legs raised, it may mean that you have an unpredictable and adventurous personality.
Oh.
People who like this sleeping position are often spontaneous, emotional, and temperamental. They're drawn to
So my question is, what about if you sleep in different positions each night? Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. Like, I'm assuming maybe if you sleep like in different ones, more commonly, like I would probably take like a bit of each, you know. But maybe they'll cover that later.
excitement and maybe moody or indecisive at times.
Because I feel like, sorry, I'm pausing it again. I feel like I sleep a lot on my stomach and on my side. Like, but I would say probably more often my side, I think. But I do, like, my stomach is very frequent too. So I'm kind of counting both in a way.
Those who sleep with their leg raised also tend to be driven, competitive, and very charismatic. They're natural born leaders who enjoy being the center of attention and care deeply for their loved ones. What position do you like to sleep in? Do you relate to what it says about your personality? Tell us about it in the comments below.
Okay,
Please
yeah.
like and share this video if it helped you and you think it could help someone else too.
So it doesn't look like they cover that. It doesn't look like they cover that. Oh, they do have the references in the description below. That's so cool. I love that. I didn't even notice that. But yeah, it looks like, I think it's just based off of whichever one you happen to notice that you do the most. Because of course, like, we're not all going to always sleep exactly the same every time. I was kind of hoping they'd address, like, and maybe this isn't exactly position, but I sleep, like, sometimes I'll sleep with my head on the pillows and then I flip in the middle of the night. But I read somewhere that that might be a form of sleepwalking because I'll sit up and then I'll just flip onto the other side. So I was kind of curious to see if they would mention that, but they didn't. It's more so like how you like position yourself, I guess. Not so much like where your head's at, if that makes sense. Or what about if you move throughout the night? Yeah, I do that a lot too. Also, hello, how are you? I'm doing good, Crazy. How are you doing? Welcome in. I am glad you're here. But yeah, I think there's a lot. It's just a lot to cover. So I think they were just getting a little more specific with it, and especially with what the study probably covered as well. I think they do have more sleep videos though. I don't think I added more sleep videos, but I'm sure they definitely have more. Um, yeah, but it's really interesting. I'm also like, I think it's kind of cool that they specified like with your leg up because I wouldn't have thought about like that as a position. I don't like sleep with my legs straight. I feel like most people don't. But I think they're more so talking about like one leg just quite literally up and the other one like down. Um, I'm kind of curious if like leg position like that matters more than I thought. Um, Not bad, just came by due to having mental health uh, and was curious. Hell yeah, yeah. We have a couple of like sillier videos, but then we have like some more serious ones too. Just so you know, we're going to probably be covering abuse, controlling partners, and I believe there was another one. There's like one on gaslighting too, so like prepare yourself. If you need to leave for any of those, definitely feel free. Um, I don't want anybody to get upset by watching these videos. They're not like super in depth. Like they're kind of like this. Like they just talk about it from like a psychology perspective, not like a personal one per se. So I think it could be fine, but just in case, like some of these topics may be triggering. We're also gonna do some on mental health disorders as well, so keep that in mind too.
In the description below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more Psych2Go videos.
Okay, I think.
Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, see, they got like one on handwriting. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. I didn't add that one in. Okay, so I think I can just skip to the next one. Perfect. So this one's on sleep deprivation and weird effects on mind and body.
Hi everyone. Thank you for your continued love and support. We hope you're all having a great weekend so far. Psych2Go's vision is to make psychology accessible for
Nice.
everyone, as well as occasionally covering topics around mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Our mission is to help everyone become more self-aware of the various psychological factors that affect our lives. One such largely ignored aspect is quality sleep. Watch along to see how sleep can affect your life.
I'm so excited.
Social media
Wait.
apps as the
I'm so excited for it to tell me, like, I'm sleeping awful, because I so am. And I know it. And I've been trying to fix it. Especially now, like, with my new job. I have to wake up at, like, 8 a.m. just to get ready and go to work. And, like, I'm tired all day. So, maybe it'll teach me a thing or two.
evening turns into early morning.
Yeah.
Or watching just one more episode to see what happens next.
Yeah, 8 a.m. Yeah, exactly. I have to be up early. I mean, I say that, but don't you wake up, like, even earlier, Jan? What be sleep? Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
We've all been there before.
I scroll a lot at night.
Succumb to the sleep you know you so desperately need.
I've been trying really hard not to look at apps.
But when they become a habit, they can lead
I wake up at 5 to 6? That's crazy, Jan. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. You're too powerful. I'd probably go to sleep about 5 or 6. If I'm, like, up really late. Usually I go to sleep, like, 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. now, but it's still not helping. I work 14-hour shifts back to... Oh, my God, no. I couldn't do that. It's for gym, that's why. Oh, okay, yeah. Gym's important. I should probably wake up a little earlier so I can walk around my neighborhood, but I don't think I got it in me.
Slew of problems.
Not the moon telling us to go to sleep.
Deprivation refers to when a person gets less sleep than his or her body needs to feel awake and alert. If you've been up too late on Tumblr, watching Netflix, or talking to a friend, you know that when your alarm goes off for work or school, you're not going to be feeling too great. And it's about
Real.
more than just hours of sleep. The quality of sleep matters too, because it needs to actually be restorative. According to the National Sleep Foundation's website, our bodies progress through 4 stages of sleep, starting with light sleep, then the brainwaves slow, and the heart rate and temperature drop. Next, we fall into a deep sleep, where we become harder to wake up, and finally, we reach the REM stage, also known as rapid eye movement, which is when we dream. This 4th stage plays an important role
I'd be in REM all the time.
and memory.
Oh, sorry, you can't see memory
The
behind my head.
effects of not reaching all the stages of sleep and the resulting sleep deprivation are important because they impact the mind and body in quite a few different ways. It might be kind of weird to think that sleep has such a significant impact on us, but here are some key ways that show just how important getting the right kind of sleep is.
I actually never thought about, like, the quality of sleep. Also, for those who have ads, I apologize, but it's about to start, so just brace yourselves. But I never really thought about like quality of sleep before. I've always thought like, oh my god, I gotta get this many hours. But quality makes a lot of sense. And I feel like a lot of people don't think about that either. They're like, oh, I need to get 8 hours of sleep and that's it. So I'm kind of interested to see what they'll say.
1. Increased risk of physical
Oh,
illness.
mm,
Our immune
good.
systems are a collection of cells and organs in our bodies that protect against disease. And to function properly, it requires a sort of maintenance.
Mm.
Sleep provides that maintenance. When we don't sleep, our bodies can't produce a type of protective protein called cytokines,
Ooh.
needed for the immune system to do its job. The cytokines fight infection. As mentioned in a study by Mayo Clinic, without adequate sleep, we may get sick more easily. It can also cause recovering from illness that we already have to take longer. It can increase
Teehee.
our risk of chronic illnesses and even lead to respiratory diseases, according to a Medical News Today report. It makes sense, too. How can anyone hope to stay healthy if they don't stop and rest? 2.
That makes sense.
Higher risk of obesity and weight gain. Without an ample amount of sleep, getting through the day might seem overwhelming and exhausting, so exercising most likely won't be a part of your to-do list.
Mm.
But prolonged periods without enough physical activity mean we're taking in more calories than we burn, leading to weight gain. The risk for
Mm.
obesity is even more extreme when we consider that sleep deprivation actually causes the hunger-regulating hormone levels to...
My stepfather does sleep checks for asthma and stuff as a RT. As, what does RT mean? And so actually does this stuff all the time. That's actually so cool. Oh, that's gonna be a fun job. Like, that's gonna be awesome.
fluctuate, so we crave more foods, carbs in particular.
Oh, that makes sense.
According to Healthline website, insulin, which controls blood sugar levels and promotes fat storage in high amounts,
Ooh.
increases when we run low on sleep.
Oh.
3.
Hmm.
More trouble regulating emotions. Proper
Yeah,
sleep
that makes sense.
is an essential part of being mentally healthy too, especially when we consider that our emotions are largely reliant on them. When we can't sleep at night, it's incredibly frustrating. We may be lying awake staring at the ceiling, tossing and turning or counting sheep in a desperate attempt to get satisfied, and the frustration it causes carries over into the next morning.
Mm-hmm.
Insomnia and depression also feed off one another, as reported
Mm-hmm.
in WebMD. When our negative thoughts or worries chase each other around our subconscious all night, as they do in those with depression, we feel worse. This, in turn, adds to the insomnia. Sleep deprivation can also trigger mania in those who are bipolar. This mood disorder is known for its grand fluctuations in energy, and its extreme is also marked by trouble with emotional regulation. 4. Lowered ability to focus. It's definitely harder to pay attention and concentrate after pulling an all-nighter.
Yeah.
We become easily distracted, our focus shifting quickly from one thing to another, probably because we're only thinking about how tired we are in the first place. It's as though our brains are trying to catch up on the sleep it missed while we're still supposed to be awake and functioning. But
Mm-hmm.
there's more going on in the brain than just that. Sleep allows us to learn and form memories through the brain ripples that occur during its deepest state. With less sleep, we're more prone to forgetfulness and other learning difficulties. 5. Increased chance of motor vehicle and
Oh,
road
definitely.
accidents. Not only can fatigue lead to distractedness and difficulty in concentrating on the road, but it can also slow reaction time as much as driving drunk. In the worst case scenarios, a driver will fall asleep at the wheel,
Mm.
and even if that doesn't happen, he or she is still more likely to make poor driving choices, such as
Mm-hmm.
rolling through stop signs, blowing red lights, merging without looking. According to the CDC website, driving drowsy is responsible for up to 6,000 fatal car accidents
Wow.
each year. It's extremely dangerous and should be avoided at
That's way
all
too
costs.
many.
Getting an appropriate amount of sleep is important, to say the very least. Teenagers typically need 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night, and adults need 7 to 9.
Oh, I
Without
definitely
regular
need
sleep
more than
goals, you
7.
might find yourself experiencing some of the problems described above. If you're tossing and turning for more than 20 minutes, getting up for a short amount of time before getting back into bed again can help rewire your thoughts.
Mm.
Having a bedtime routine, such as washing up, turning off screens,
Mm-hmm.
reading a book, is an encouraging way to battle insomnia because the body gets conditioned to know it's time for bed. If
that's actually something I've been practicing more. The whole sleep routine, because I don't have a routine at all. And I did notice that when I was like reading before bed, not getting on my screen for any reason, um, I was actually like sleepier. I mean, sunlight is supposedly good for me too, and I avoid it. Oh no, we need sunlight. um, I've even noticed like I'll keep my light on and I'll read my book, and then I feel tired even though like my light's on and stuff. It's because I'm not like sitting there staring at my screen. I'm so bad about like watching TikTok before I go to bed. I try to now what I do is I try to get off my computer at a certain time, allow myself to look at TikTok for a while, and then I go and like brush my teeth or take my shower or go read my book. I haven't been reading my book lately. I'm hoping I'm actually gonna make my bed today, so I'm hoping that after I do that, I'll be in like my nice, comfy, new, clean sheets, and I'll be able to read my book. Um, but I've definitely noticed that. Like, I don't know if many of you know this, but I actually like have a therapist of my own. It's very important for like especially people who are training to become a therapist to have your own therapist. I also have a lot of my own like issues and stuff that I'm trying to work through and get better with like my mental health, and it's really been helping a lot. And that was kind of one of the things that my therapist actually suggested was kind of, establishing that go to sleep routine. Because I was just keeping myself up, like just by worrying, and a lot of the times now, like I have a tendency where when I lay in bed, that's the only time I slow down to actually think and like worry about things. So that was always my excuse was I would lay down and then oh my gosh, I have to worry about this tomorrow and that tomorrow and oh, I need to remember to do this. So then I'd get on my phone and type it all out and then get distracted, end up on TikTok. Now I try to do this where I'll put a notepad by my bed, and then if I remember something, I'll write it down. I want to hopefully get like a big paper calendar, leave it on my desk, and it'll be like something I check every day. Because a lot of times I won't look at that notebook. Um, so I'm hoping if I get like a big calendar, I'll write everything on it. I'll get myself to check that more than my phone. It'll kind of influence me to write more on it and be less like digital about it, especially at night for my sleep. Your mind is active and uses more energy when reading, then you become sleepy. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I absolutely relate to that.
that doesn't work, ask yourself, what are the underlying thoughts you have that are keeping you from sleeping well?
Mm-hmm.
Or if you need to fight the urge to go to sleep because you want to keep doing whatever it is that you're doing,
Mm.
remembering the negative impact of doing so
Mm-hmm.
might persuade you to get to bed a little earlier. Do you have trouble sleeping? Or your to do list forces you to stay up late? Or is it increasingly just becoming a habit? If so, you might want to consider these drawbacks closely as they're affecting the way you live your life. Also, remember to share this with someone you think might benefit from these as well. Don't forget to click the
That's
like
right, we're
button and
sharing it.
subscribe for more content. And as always, thanks for
I
watching.
I think too, I like how they mention where like if it's harder to stop doing what you want to do to go to bed, think about those negative consequences. I agree with that. I've done that a lot, but it doesn't always work for me. So I have a tendency to kind of like lock in on something. And I just cannot stop myself, especially because I enjoy doing it so much. Um, I'm actually actively working on trying to get a diagnosis for ADHD because I think it might be that. I'm actually excited because later on in these videos, I do have ADHD videos, so I'm kind of curious to see how much I might relate to it. I haven't watched too many things actually on ADHD. I've never like sat back and been like, oh, maybe I have this or maybe this is wrong, you know. Um, it wasn't until my therapist actually brought it up where I was like, oh, you might be right. Um, so I'm kind of curious to see if I relate to it a lot or not, especially because it's ADHD in adults specifically. I feel like we talk more about like ADHD in children. This is also another one we're gonna watch. I think that might be next. Yeah. So this is one of their most recent videos. This one. Um, they actually talked about it.
The mental
I watched the or I sorry I looked at the pinned comment, and the reason why it says we'll delete in 24 hours is because it's a little difficult to market on YouTube now. Their videos aren't like reaching the algorithm and stuff, so that's why they put that there. You'll actually see that title in like another video, I think, because that's like another one of their super recent ones where they're testing that out. So that's why it says it for anyone who's curious. This is about AI, I believe, and how like they're using it to like replace therapists, or they're trying to use it to replace therapists, I believe. I did watch like a little bit of it.
health
So,
crisis is worse than ever. While millions of people struggle with their mental health, therapy is always just out of reach, whether it be because of pricing or inaccessibility. But a potential
mhm.
solution has made its rival in the form of AI, which is instantly accessible and often free. But
Mm.
is AI really the solution many are hoping for? Can it actually replace therapy? Can AI language learning models ever replace the care and understanding of a real therapist? Or is it just
No.
a quick fix for a deeper problem? Let's discuss.
Yeah.
The value it
I
could
don't think so.
provide. Without another person on the other side, bringing your problems to an AI is almost like venting or journaling, except with feedback. For a lot of people, the idea of not having to interact with another person or set up an appointment is already incredibly valuable. On top of that, therapy can be unaffordable for many people, and therefore using
Mm.
AI instead is a bit of a no brainer. The level of feedback and goal oriented progression AI can provide is nowhere close to what a human can provide, but it can potentially promote some introspection. Because of its limitations, it's less like therapy and more like assisted venting. But that doesn't mean
Mm.
that AI would be a flawless venting tool. Studies have suggested that venting can be a means for people to internalize their depression or anxiety symptoms. So, over time, relying on AI for your therapy can cause you to internalize and worsen symptoms that might have been alleviated by a qualified human therapist.
Yeah.
Imagine someone with anxiety venting to an AI. The AI might repeat their concerns back to them or offer generic responses like, take a deep breath. This can create an echo chamber effect, where the person's own thoughts and worries are simply mirrored rather than challenged or understood.
Mhm.
Over time, this can reinforce negative thought patterns, as AI lacks the ability to offer fresh perspectives or emotional connections. A
Right.
human therapist, on the other hand, can break the cycle by providing personalized insights, offering empathy, and guiding the person through deeper emotional work. Human connection and relatability. At Psych2Go, we have long advocated for the benefits of therapy, but one aspect of therapy that isn't often included in the conversation is the way that humans can relate to one another in a way that machines cannot. A human therapist has lived experience and examples to draw from. A danger
Mhm.
with AI is that it is a language learning model. In other words, it can only draw from things that other people have said in a way that the algorithm it runs on would deem appropriate. While a human therapist has dozens of clients and can't afford to become too emotionally invested in you, a machine can't emotionally connect or relate to you at all. Of
Right.
course, to some people, this doesn't matter too much. The information and feedback takes precedence over the emotional semantics. But those emotional semantics are what make human therapy impactful. A study published in the Journal of Medical Internet Research warns of the shortcomings of AI in the field of psychotherapy, like possible biases and poor risk assessment. Human
Mhm.
therapists can challenge your emotions and your perspective.
I feel like with AI, like a lot would be missed. Like they mentioned, like the human connection. I mean, I think that is the single most important thing about therapy is like connecting with another person. Um as I, mentioned earlier, like I'm working on my masters. So, I've learned a lot about like how it works a little bit. Like, I'm in the intro part, so I still have tons to learn, of course. But like it is so important. People don't realize how important it is to be able to connect to your client or to your therapist. Like it's so crazy. And I've heard a lot of people talk about like how they've had bad experiences, and that's on the therapist for real. Like they just weren't the right fit. And therapy, while I understand some people don't feel like it's for them, and that's okay. I think there's so many diverse ways to receive therapy that AI is just, I don't know, in my personal opinion, not needed. Like, yeah, as Crazy said, like you can't read body language or subtle hints, so there's gonna be a lot missed by AI, and it's a total lack of connection. And like, as the video said too, like not everybody's looking for connection, but connection sometimes, like you're when you go to therapy, you're looking for something specific usually, and sometimes you'll leave with more than that, and that connection is part of that more than that, and it's stuff that you need. But we don't always go to therapy knowing everything, right? I mean, that's kind of the purpose. Like we don't know everything, and the therapist doesn't know everything either. But it's a way to kind of learn more about yourself and connect with someone and help whatever issue that you're having. And so a lot of the times you'll leave with things you didn't necessarily like, what things you weren't looking for. And I don't think that's something AI could do. Like AI is just going to repeat back to you things that other people have said to it or that you've said to it. And I kind of agree, how they mention it's going to be a lot like journaling, because it's just you essentially talking to like a mirror or something, like it's just going to get mirrored back to you. There's not a lot of insight. So I mean, I completely agree with it, what they're saying, and some of these aspects I hadn't even thought of. But yeah, I mean, I completely agree. There's a complete lack of connection and deeper insight that I think is much more beneficial coming from a therapist. And again, like not everybody can afford it or has the availability for it, so it's definitely tough. Um, but I think compared to AI, it's so much more beneficial and so much more worth it.
While an AI can only consider things that you have told it,
Exactly.
without subtext or
Exactly.
varied perspectives.
Mhm.
For example, if a therapist asks you to rate how likely you are to harm yourself on a scale from 1 to 10 and you lie and say a lower number, the therapist can pick up on that or ask
Right.
follow up questions to get a more rounded view of the risk you potentially pose to yourself.
Exactly.
An AI would simply take your word for it.
Mhm.
A human therapist can use the information you've given them.
And I think, just to kind of piggyback off of that, like it's so um like common for people to lie about how they're feeling. I've done it several times in my therapy sessions. Like when I was the client, I've done it a lot. And, a human can pick up on that. And it's not like necessarily like, for instance, me, like I didn't want to lie to just be dishonest about it. Like in the beginning of my therapy journey, I didn't feel safe. Like I mean, it was a new experience for me. It was strange, like it's something I'd never done before. So you're not going to feel comfortable immediately. And there was times where I was working with other therapists and I didn't feel comfortable with them, so I didn't tell them the whole truth. And I'm sure they picked up on that, and I just wanted to get out of that therapy session. And I think it's a very valuable tool for therapists to be able to pick up on that and adjust. Like if you need to go see someone else who's more qualified to work with you, then they'll refer you. Um, that's something an AI won't and can't do. Um, and it's important to acknowledge that not everyone's honest about their feelings, and it's not that they're looking to be dishonest. It's just it's kind of a trust thing, and sometimes you don't even realize you're being dishonest with yourself. Like sometimes you feel like this is the truth, but maybe it really isn't. Um, my temporary therapy is games. That's so fair. Games can really help though. Like games are very important. I feel like because it allows you to relax and have fun. Obviously, there's a limit, but my problem typically is I don't like being a burden to others, so I no speak on emotions or myself. Yeah, yeah, I feel that. I feel that. It's really hard. It's really hard to talk about feelings and emotions, especially when we're in a society that does not promote that a lot. I think that's why this month is so important because it's important to have a reminder of what mental health really is. Like it's more than just disorders. It's more than just symptoms. Like it's how we connect with each other and like how we speak about our emotions and how we're doing. Like a lot of people, this is one thing you might hear me say a lot, but I really hate small talk. I really hate it. I hate it so much. And for a while when I was streaming, I wouldn't even engage with it. I understand its value a little better, but like for instance, when I'm at work, sometimes I'll walk by my coworkers and they're busy, I'm busy, so I'll be like, "Hey, how are you?" And then they'll say good, and then they'll ask me and I'll say I'm good. But that's not true. That is not true. Like a lot of the times if someone is upset, they're not going to say anything because the other person's busy, it's small talk, you don't know the other person well, like so I kind of hate engaging in that conversation because it doesn't do anything. It's kind of more of a formality and I can't stand it. Um that's like one thing I tried to avoid with streaming, but I understand like it's important, like it helps people to feel seen even if it doesn't really promote a lot of deep reflection. I get really excited when you guys are like honest and open and talk about your day a little because that allows me to make it a deeper conversation. Because I like the deeper conversations more. I feel like it's more beneficial. I get to learn a little bit about you guys. You guys get to learn a little bit about me and what we're going through. And, I don't know, it just feels better to like actually be able to say how you feel. And, I don't know. I think that's something in today's society we don't do a lot and we're not encouraged to do. And I get it. Like you don't want to like if you're going through like loss, you don't want to sit there and tell your coworker you've talked to twice. Like, "Oh yeah, like I just lost my parent or something." Like, yeah. I mean, it's got to be someone you trust and someone that you can open up to. That's extremely important. But I don't know. I've always been someone who likes to openly talk about my emotions, so it's really hard when I feel like I can't. Um, and when I was younger, I went through a lot, and I was taught to not talk about my feelings, and not express myself, and that was really hard to overcome because I would just bottle it up, and when you bottle it up, it just explodes. At least from my personal experience. Um, and so I've worked a lot on being able to talk about my emotions and talk about myself and perceive myself as someone rather than just, being there for others all the time. I mean, my day is going better and faster by chatting. It makes the work day much better. Well, I am glad. I am glad you're sitting here and chatting with us today, and it's making it better and faster. Work is icky. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think talking about emotions is very important. I think it's something we all don't get to do enough. Um, I've always been the type of person. I think that's why I pursued mental health counseling. Was I've always been the type of person to listen and want to get to know people and want to connect with people. I mean, that's like, it's like one of my favorite things to do is like listen to people talk about their day and like, sorry, my voice is kind of going away. Um, but kind of learn more about a person and like learn deeply about a person. And it's not like, I don't really know how to describe it. It just feels nice to know another person like that. Um, I guess it's that feeling of connection and that feeling of understanding another person. It feels so nice. And there's only so much a person can sit there and listen to or connect with someone before it feels overloading. That was something I had to learn a lot about. Was I was taking so much in from everyone around me that I wasn't taking care of what was going on inside of me. And I wasn't taking care of how I felt. Because when you talk to someone, there's how they feel, what they're saying, and how you feel. Um, a lot of people don't acknowledge like how a conversation makes them feel. I've learned extensively what that's like. I've been in a lot of uncomfortable conversations. I'm sure a lot of people have as well. And I've just kind of ignored that discomfort, and I'm trying to learn how to kind of set those boundaries and realize when I don't feel okay in a conversation or realize when I don't want to talk to somebody. And it's okay to tell someone like, "Hey, I know you're going through a lot right now. Can we address this later, whatever." Cuz you you want to be there for other people. And as kind of crazy said, you don't want to feel like you're being a burden. Um I had a lot of issues with feeling like a burden too, and that's kind of why I didn't talk about a lot of my emotions when I was younger. Um, and I've kind of like worked on that a lot, and it's a lot of positive speaking to myself is what I had to do. And I had to acknowledge like, hey, how I see someone else talking to me is how I should see me talking to someone else, because I deserve to talk to other people too. I deserve to air out my emotions as well, and I deserve, like, I have feelings too. I'm just like them. And it's unfair for me to look at myself and be like, "Oh, well, you're a burden. Like, you don't need to tell them all that, and you don't need to open up like that. You're fine. You're fine." Like, it's unfair because I'm human just like anybody else is. And it's really hard though, because you're your own like biggest critic. So it's hard to open up and allow yourself to do things like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's like psychology is very hard to kind of navigate and work on yourself, and it's definitely not easy. And I can sit here and be like, "Oh, this is what I did. This is what helped me," but it's gonna be different for each person. And I think a big thing to learn is like you can only help someone as much as they want to be helped. And that's definitely one of the hardest things I've had to learn was I can't help all my friends because they're not ready for that help. And, a lot of the times helping someone is just helping them to help themselves. Like the biggest growth you're going to see is when you commit to it and when you want to do it and when you're motivated to do it and help yourself. And it's definitely important to like reach out to others for support and also be able to recognize when you're reaching out to someone who is not supporting you. Um, and like knowing yourself. Maybe I should go to therapy. Wait, does this stream count as mild therapy? No. This does not count as mild therapy. I am not a professional, so I cannot give out therapy like that. But you are kind of learning about therapy and you're learning about like benefits of mental health, positive mental health. And, so that's important too. But not exactly therapy. um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. As someone who wants to be a therapist, I'm very passionate about therapy. I'm very passionate that anyone can go to therapy if they want to. I don't want to push therapy on someone. Um, but obviously, as someone who wants to be a therapist, like, I think it's very important and I think it's very valuable. Some people might not agree with me, and that's okay. Um, there's always the saying of therapy isn't for everyone. And I can I can agree with that to an extent, right? Um and I think that's mainly because I know therapy is so much more diverse than we talk about. There's so many different theories and methods and all kinds of different personalities in therapy. There's definitely bad ones, and there's also good ones too. And you got to find like what works for you. Um and unfortunately, that can sometimes mean going to a lot of different therapists. And I mean, I've been through 3. And I was lucky enough to find, well, actually, technically 4. I was lucky enough to find actually 2 therapists that I really connected with. And sometimes they'll have to like move or they'll change careers or whatever. So you gotta adapt to that as well. And it's definitely difficult to switch therapists. You've told your whole life story to someone, and then you gotta go and do it again. Um, it's definitely not easy. But apologies for those stuck in the ad breaks right now. Therapy is for everyone, just not always at the correct time. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. That's kind of how I feel about it. And for some people, they've been really traumatized by therapy, and my heart really goes out to them because that's an awful experience to have, and it just really like breaks my heart when people go through that. Especially because I've seen like all the positivity that therapy can offer, especially therapy that was tailored to me and that helped me. Um, but what's going to help me is not going to help someone else. And that's why it's so important to keep like trying, and it's okay to take breaks. Like if you've tried a couple therapists and you're like, I can't do this anymore. Like maybe take a break and come back to it another time when you feel ready. Like don't pressure yourself to do something like that. You should never pressure yourself to do anything. And, unfortunately it's all about like speaking up for yourself and setting boundaries and learning when someone's not a right fit for you. And that's not something we all come equipped to do. Um so yeah, I don't know. It's definitely hard and it's a lot of work to go through therapy, honestly. But I feel like it's very worth it when you find that right person. Um and again, it's something you got to pay for because the therapists have to be paid, and so it's also difficult with that, and your insurance may not cover it, or maybe you don't even have insurance. So it's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of obstacles, unfortunately, and I wish it were easier. And that's why like videos like this kind of come in clutch because if you can't afford therapy, you can at least like watch informational videos that could help. Um, it's not exactly the same, but it's a resource that you can access that'll still help. It's better than nothing. And that's why I really like the work that Psych2Go does, because they help in areas that, maybe therapists can't. Like, therapists can't go around and be like, oh, here's some mental health tips. Like, they can't go around and do that. They don't have time. They don't have the resources and stuff. Like, well, they have the resources, but they don't have, like, you know, the availability and everything to be able to do that all the time. Um, Advocacy is a big thing for therapists, and it's definitely important to advocate for your clients and for mental health. But um, when you're seeing a lot of clients and stuff, you don't have time to make all these videos and uh, make this information so easily accessible. So I think the work that they do is just so important, and it really helps. Um, I feel like I've blabbed for a while now, but yeah, I don't know. Like it's it's very important to me. And I think if people are willing to give it a try and really work on themselves and are able to seek out a therapist, it will do like it'll give such a rewarding benefit to do that. If you're able to and if you're motivated enough to do it, like it could change so much and it could be so worth it. Um, and I think another mindset to kind of approach therapy too is like it's not going to be fixed in a day. Therapy takes so long. I've been in therapy. Oh my goodness. Um, so my therapist now I've been seeing for probably the longest time. I would say I've been seeing her at least for 2 years. And that's not to say I haven't made any improvements. I've made a lot of improvement, a lot. And it's definitely important to celebrate those small wins and those big wins, and I've had both. Um and at any time if I really wanted to, I could quit therapy. Um and that's important to know too. Like at any time if you feel like you don't want to do it anymore, you can quit. Like you don't have to keep doing it. Unless of course you're like court ordered or something. That's a little different. Um but yeah, I mean, therapy is a very open environment. It's very accepting. You don't have to sit there and keep plugging in at it. And I've changed my availability a lot. There were times when I went a couple times a week. There were times when I went every week. Every once in a while, I'll switch to every other week. Like you could do once a month. If that's really like better for your schedule or whatever. Like it's all tailored to you, and that's what I love about it. Is like it's very tailored to the person and what they need. It's not about the therapist teaching you stuff. It's about you it's about you teaching yourself stuff in a way. Like they're there to help and they're there to kind of guide you a little bit, but they're not there to be an expert. Like yeah, they know a lot about mental health and they're there to pass that information to you, but not in a way where it's like a teacher teaching you, if that makes sense. Like I don't know. It's very very person centered, I feel like. And that's what I love about it. Is it's about the person. It's about the connection. It's about them finding all the answers in themselves. Um okay, I'm going to stop talking now and we can watch the rest of the video.
And construct a plan for your therapy and can guide you through the process. An AI can't
They give the tools to master thyself. Exactly. Exactly.
facilitate and monitor
Something an AI can't really do. Anyways.
your mental health and growth the same way a therapist can.
Exactly.
The importance of being qualified. It takes a long time to become a qualified therapist.
Yeah.
There are responsibilities and roles that are an important part of the role of being a therapist.
Yeah.
This knowledge and responsibility is what distinguishes therapists from other people. A machine cannot be held responsible or accountable. Whatever happens through your journey with an AI, the AI itself has no stake in it. While AI can give reasonable sounding advice, it won't always feed you factually correct information.
Exactly.
ChatGPT has been known to lie if the algorithm thinks it sounds correct. In something as delicate as mental.
And that's another thing too. Like AI can't always tell what is factual because it's just reading off of online sources, which, as we all know, online lies all the time. And that's what I think is interesting too. Like that's where it's getting all its information, all its facts, and meanwhile people, as it said earlier, have those lived experiences, you know, literal years of education. I'm currently going through it. There's a lot to learn, and AI can't do that in seconds. It's not something people can learn in like mere seconds because someone's asked a question or someone said something. Like It's not that easy.
mental health, this makes AI a very risky tool to use.
Mm-hmm.
Studies into the potential benefits of AI in psychotherapy point out that the benefits they could provide therapists are limited, considering that the vast majority of the responsibilities of therapy would still have to be conducted by the human therapist. So, if you take the human therapist out of the equation, you also take away all of the safeguards and risk assessment that their qualifications provide.
Woohoo.
Real life impact of AI. This last point comes with a trigger warning because we will be discussing suicide. There was a case in.
Okay, so anyone who doesn't want to, it sounds like they're going to go into a specific case. So anyone who doesn't want to hear about suicide or anything like that, please feel free to leave. You can mute the tab and just wait till we're done with this video. It's up to you. But I don't want anybody to stay here if that's something they're not comfortable with. And AI took one look through Reddit and Twitter and said, nope, humans are fucked. Yeah, exactly.
In October, where a 14-year-old boy became obsessed with an AI themed around the character Daenerys Targaryen from Game of Thrones. He spoke to the chatbot about desperately wanting to.
Wait. I think I heard about this. I think I actually heard about this. Okay, we'll keep going, but I'm pretty sure I've heard about this. We actually talked about this at my job. And we were kind of just discussing like how AI has been interacting with vulnerable people. Anyways, I'll let it play though.
Join in its world, which the chatbot encouraged. The 14-year-old then committed suicide. It's clear in hindsight that this boy had problems that could have benefited from some sort of intervention, even though the chatbot wasn't meant to be a therapist. It still shows some of the dangers of AI.
So because I paused in the middle of the story, basically, if you didn't hear what it said, a 14-year-old boy became very close to an AI, and they were like, "Oh, I really want to join you in your world," and the AI basically like encouraged the boy to kill himself, and essentially, he's a 14-year-old boy, very like, I don't know exactly all the facts, but I'm assuming they were depressed. And that's like one of the fears I have with AI too, is like these bots don't know what to say, what to do. They don't know, they can't recognize the shift in emotions like that. And as they said earlier, like they don't do proper risk assessment. So like how is the bot supposed to be able to tell this boy like, "Hey, that's not the way." Like it's just like, "Oh, you want to join me? Yeah, okay." And then it'll take whatever information it can find online on how to join like a fake character or something like that. And people troll online, people make jokes that are dark. So it probably read one of those and was like, "Oh, you got to do this." And I that upsets me so much. That just pisses me off. Thank you for the water, Wiser. Welcome in. We are currently talking about suicide. So if that upsets you in any way, please feel free to skedaddle or mute the tab, at least until this video is over, probably. But yeah, I mean, that case of that boy really upset me when I found out. I mean, that's just terrible, and I feel like we should probably get rid of AI for this reason. Like, especially for mental health. Like, that's insane that we just allowed an AI to do that. I remember my coworkers were talking about like what happened with that company, and the company had to sell itself and no one would buy it because who wants to buy an AI company where they killed a teenage boy? Oh, I heard about this story. Yeah. Very upsetting. But that just goes to show how dangerous AI could be because it doesn't understand what it's saying necessarily. It's just trying to help in a way the person wants. And so they find information that relates to that and then they just spew it out. They can't fact check it, they can't double check it, It just spits it out. It's like, I honestly like to think of it as like a child. It it takes in information, it hears what you're saying, and then it finds what other people have said, and then it just gives it to you without thinking like, oh, is this going to be actually helpful, or is this what I really want to say? Is this appropriate? It has no filter for that. Chat AIs are not restricted, which is the problem. Exactly, exactly. And honestly, I don't know. Like, even if we wanted to fine tune it, I just don't think it's worth it. I think it's too much work when we can just have actual humans do the work. Because then you get the connection, like we talked about. You get the deeper insight. Like, it's just not worth it.
AI handling delicate mental health crises.
Mm-hmm.
It cannot know that when you say, I'm going to join you, you're implying that you want to commit suicide. Something like
Yeah,
that would
exactly.
certainly raise red flags to a human therapist.
And
We're not.
that's another thing, too. Like, wording is so crucial. Think about it like, you're talking to someone online and you're making jokes, and then they don't like that joke, so then they respond with like shorter responses. Some people don't pick up on that. Some people don't pick up that they're upset. So how is an AI going to pick up on that? Like, how is an AI going to pick up that you say you want to join them? That means something different. Like, AIs are not programmed to pick that up, but humans are. And sometimes we miss the mark, absolutely. But a lot more consistent than a bot. How do I get aware of my mental? I got you, Crash. Welcome in. Hello, Oni. Welcome in. How are you guys doing? We are currently watching a video. We're almost done with it though, but it's like talking about the difference between AI therapy and like actual therapist therapy. Right now, we are talking on the subject of suicide, so if that's something that triggers you or upsets you, please feel free to leave or mute the tab or something until this video is over. Okay, with chat AI, I think. Yeah. Human have facial reactors. Oh, that's true. Now, AI can definitely be helpful for a lot of things. I'm not saying AI is not helpful. Um, like how Crash mentioned the facial reactors. I think it's really interesting how they've developed programs where like people who cannot recognize facial expressions as easy can use like apps and stuff where like I think it was Zoom or something. It was some kind of app where they have this feature. I don't know if it's technically AI though, but technology in general, and it'll help the person, like it'll label what the other person's facial reaction is, and it helps for people who can't really read that as easily. I'm doing all right, trying to rest my ankle though. What happened to your ankle? Did you hurt it? Are you okay? I mean, I'm glad you're resting it for whatever reason, but I hope you're okay. But yeah, I mean, I think stuff like that is helpful, but an AI as a therapist is probably the worst idea as a society that we've ever had. But that can be identified based off of that. So if an AI can analyze this, or if they add a heart rate monitor to the therapy, it can uh it can all a wait what determine. Okay, so the AI can determine a change in mental, which is, I can understand that, but you got to think of it in terms of it's used with an actual therapist there. Like the therapist is there to monitor the AI. It can stop the AI from saying crazy shit, and whatever. I suck at typing. It's okay. I suck at reading and typing. If that makes you feel better. I twisted it yesterday when helping an older man with a walking aid down a stair. Oh, well, you were just trying to be kind, though. I'm so sorry you twisted your ankle, though. At least it was just twisted, though. You didn't, like, break it or anything, so that's good. And I'm glad you're resting it, at least. I'm sure he really appreciated your help, nonetheless. It's a bit swollen, but doesn't hurt much. Okay, okay. I can't read. Yeah, AI isn't real, exactly. Um, but for those who missed it, they're going over a case where a 14-year-old got really connected to an AI of some fictional character they really liked. And they told the AI, hey, I want to join you. How can I do that? And the AI, used its online research and was like, oh, kill yourself. and then the the kid did. And that's kind of why we're kind of talking about like it's really dangerous and it just shouldn't be worked on at this point. Like that's ridiculous that we had an AI do that. I'm so upset that we enabled that to happen. I really I'm just really disappointed. Yeah. And just listen to Uncle no. No. I'm sure he's probably going to get it wrong too. And that's why we've kind of talked about how like it's better if you would like to seek therapy and stuff, it's better to get an actual person. I mean, this is also coming from someone who's training to be a therapist too. And just relying on AI is more so just like talking to the internet or reflecting with yourself. It's not going to give you like structural help and deep insight or reflection or anything. So, and as you know, now we know it's very dangerous, especially with more serious content. There's an actual video where a therapist looked over. How do you say his name? Is it Iro? Iro? I don't know how to say his name, but he's from oh, what's that anime called? He's from Last Airbender, isn't he? Honestly, text-based AI should just be illegal. No, I literally agree. I just hate AI in general, to be honest. Like, there's so much other technology that we use that is so much more helpful, and like AI just enables us to be dangerous and lazy. I'd rather trauma dump in the VC that than talk to an AI about my feelings. That's what I'm saying. Like earlier in the video, it did mention how like you get a deeper connection from talking to someone else. You get more insight. You get so much more from an actual person than you could ever get from an AI. An AI is just gonna look up research and then spit it back out at you. Something you can literally do. Like you can literally go Google this stuff yourself. You don't need to be talking to an AI to do it, and they're gonna deliver it in a much worse format. You can actually sit there and look through actual, like factually checked websites, and AI is probably not gonna do that. It might be programmed to, maybe, but still, it's still not gonna be able to cater to you as much as a person can with their real life experiences. Yeah, Avatar. Okay, I sent it to you if you want something to listen to whenever. Okay, bet I will check it out. And a lot of the times, not even accurate. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, they were talking about that too. A lot of times it's not even accurate. Like it's just, it's the worst idea to go consult an AI about your problems. That's just, and the worst part is like it's probably a lot of teenagers. Like the case of this one with the 14-year-old. Like it's a lot of teenagers who think this is probably a good idea. You know, they're growing up now, knowing what AI is, and they're navigating that, and they're gonna go and be like, oh well, I'd rather talk to AI than some professional. That's scary. Like they're gonna send me to like a ward or something. Like that's kind of the mindset. Like they want to avoid, you know, talking to somebody, and so they feel comfier talking to an AI, but in reality that's more dangerous. Can I ask Siri to find said sites? I mean, you could. Siri will probably be a like. Oh no, not now. No, no, stop. Okay, she heard me. Damn it. You pranked me, crazy. You pranked me. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely like it's not bad to ask these bots or whatever like, hey, can you refer me to like helpful sites for this? But even then, you just don't want to like specifically ask them like, hey, I'm depressed, what do I do? Like, you know, um, I think Siri's a lot safer. It's just a search engine. It's not like gonna give you a lot of. I better stop saying its name because it's gonna pop up again and then kill my model. Um, there are certain things I agree AI should be used for, but there are things that should not be used in some cases. I agree. I can respect AI being used for some things. I mostly don't agree AI should be used though. As an artist and future therapist, I really hate AI. But I can see how it's helpful sometimes. I think it should be used with people, not instead of people. Like the place for AI is technology. Yeah. Dude, I remember one of my colleagues being upset about her daughter failing a class assignment because she used ChatGPT. And the best part is how they found out. Oh my god, how did they find out? They entire the I can't read. The entire class just put in the questions, and all of them had the exact same answers, and all of them got 0 points. That is insane. But yeah, I mean, that's crazy. Got wait, what? Got hurled completely unintentionally? What? Huh? But yeah. Um, yeah. I don't know. I mostly don't agree with AI. I'm an AI hater. I can see how sometimes it's useful. Especially like how Crash said with technology. Like I can see how that's useful, but I don't think it should be in place of mental health services or art or even writing. I even I can see the benefits of AI with classwork, but I mostly don't believe in it. I don't know. I think it should be used in a way that helps those with like disabilities, not telling you what to say or giving you answers. Like I think it should be reconstructed in a way that helps with people that have like reading disabilities or, whatever. But I don't think it should be used to give you your answers or whatever or cheat or anything like that. Cuz it's just going to, as Oni said, it's just going to lead you down a path where you fail anyways because you didn't try at all and then you just relied on AI to do everything for you. Grandma hates AI noted. Damn straight. We hate IA. We hate AI in this house. Grammar check. Exactly. Like things like grammar check I think could be helpful. If Bailey is grandma, what the fuck am I? Also grandma. I think the AI is only good because it's anonymous. That's the only advantage. Yeah. I mean, I could kind of get that. Sometimes people don't want to talk to, or they want to remain anonymous, but I don't know. I I don't really know how I feel about people talking to like AI in any context. Like about anything personal, you know? I can understand the interest in it, but I'm just kind of nervous it's going to end up like how this story did. Like I don't like the idea at all of someone talking to an AI about personal stuff. I think that's crazy. Like again, I can understand like why people are drawn to it and why people want to, but I think there's better ways to do that anonymously. Like I was going through some personal stuff once, and so arguably not the best decision, but I went on Reddit and I went to specific platforms for those things, like for my condition that I was talking about, or for like help with depression or whatever. And typically, from my experience, they've been pretty safe. But I'm also someone who can recognize my limits. And I can also recognize when someone's messing with me and what advice to take, what advice to not take. So that's really important when you go online and talk to people. But even more so with AI. I mean, AI is not going to help at all, in my personal opinion. I think it's worse. I don't think they would help. When you can just do, sorry, my voice is like dying. When you can just do the same thing but with actual people online, like it's basically the same thing except an AI is gonna be worse about it. Damn my voice. I think the AI. Oh wait, I already read that part. Um, yeah, yeah. It's Brain Stability Awareness Month, my favorite month. Hell yeah, welcome in, Jimmy. I hope you're doing well. I feel like it's been a while. You're a lesbian now. What are you talking about, honey? Oh, if I'm a grandma. Oh, yes. You are a lesbian grandma now. It's about to be Pride Month, guys. I hope you're ready. I now need to identify as a woman. Okay, thank you for the water. Yeah, I probably need it. Thank you. Stretch, thank you. Everybody stay hydrated. Oh, thank you for the bald. I appreciate it. Let me stretch. Oh, I definitely needed that. Okay, let's go ahead and finish the video. For anybody who just joined, again, we are still covering, I believe, the topic of suicide. So if that is difficult for you in any way, feel free to step away, mute the tab for the rest of this video, possibly, but I just want to let everybody know that's what we're going to possibly still be talking about. I think they're still covering the case. I'm ready to be proud of Kat.
That anyone is at fault in this case, or trying to throw blame on anyone. We're simply trying to illustrate that the guardrails that exist in therapy and the training that therapists have are valuable. Furthermore, researchers found that AI used for minute taking in hospitals was inventing things no one had ever said. This is incredibly frightening because when reviewing aspects of medical cases like patient histories, accuracy is extremely important. We wouldn't tell you to outright never seek help. If you can't afford therapy, something is better than nothing.
Exactly.
But what we will say is be careful when using AI as a therapist. Remember that the emotions and feelings that you pour into it don't mean anything to the AI. It's only responding with a sentence constructed by an algorithm. Prominent AI company OpenAI even made a statement saying their AI tools should not be used in high-risk situations. So, what do you think? Is AI more helpful than harmful? Let's keep the conversation going in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video,
I think it's more harmful. I really do. Especially for like therapy reasons, it's definitely more harmful than good. I don't believe in any way it should be used that way. Even if it's not like a high risk thing, I really don't. I don't like personally believe it. But I do understand sometimes people can't pay for stuff like that. I think in that case it's honestly better to reach out to just other people online in safe spaces. I think that would be better than to reach out to an AI, personally. I think AI should be no choice at all. Not even a last choice. But, I don't know. I mean, I know everybody else has their own opinions, but mine personally, I think it should never be used for something like that. And it really saddens me that people have used it in place of that, or have not really necessarily used it, but used it to train to do that, I should say. Like, I'm more disappointed in the people making it available to others in that way, because it shouldn't be. I'm all about like creating more resources and enabling people to access stuff for mental health, but in terms of AI, I don't think AI has anything beneficial to offer for mental health. I really don't. Okay, so now we are going to go to the next video, which the next video I have lined up is 5 signs you're emotionally immature. I'm sure they'll go over what like emotional maturity is, but that's something I've learned within the past year. I hope they go over it because I don't really know how to explain it myself adequately enough. Oh, bet I'll be good at this. Yeah. Wait, no. I think the next one is like 6 signs or something that you're emotionally mature. Um, this is something I've learned a lot about recently. Um, Personally, for me, I've had to learn about it in terms of my family and how to interact with them, and even my other relationships. So it's been very beneficial to me. So I kind of wanted to see what they said about it, and see if I like agree or anything. I think there's been like one time I didn't agree with one of their videos, and it was like a very long time ago. No idea. So you're probably gonna see me agreeing a lot, just so we're all prepared. But yeah, we'll go to that one now.
hey Psych2Goers, welcome back to another video. Psych2Go's mission is to make psychology and mental health more accessible to everyone, and you help us do that, so we want to say thanks. Now, let's begin. Do you know of someone who struggles to communicate their thoughts and control their emotions? These are examples of low emotional maturity, or more broadly, low psychological maturity. According to the APA Dictionary of Psychology, psychological maturity is the ability to effectively deal with the things that come up in life and perform well in biological or social tasks characteristic of a person's age. Here are 5 signs of low emotional maturity. Please note that relating to 1, 2, or even more of these points do not automatically make someone emotionally immature. Number 1, they can't keep their emotions in check.
Mm-hmm.
According to Heitler, an emotionally immature person can have inappropriate emotional outbursts. This can present in a number of ways, especially in children. For example, a child throws a tantrum. Upon confrontation, they blame others for their own emotional outbursts, saying things like, "Oh, I acted this way because you made me do it." Do you know someone who's always driven by their emotions? What about someone like Draco Malfoy from Harry Potter? 2. They're usually defensive and manipulative. It is not uncommon for emotionally immature people to be defensive. When they're confronted with a problem, they often insult the other person as an intimidation tactic. We want to point out that there's a huge difference between explaining yourself in order to add perspective and defending yourself just to be right and free of blame.
Mm-hmm.
Emotionally immature people are more likely to show defense mechanisms such as projection or denial. As a result, the actions of emotionally immature people may violate others' boundaries. Has there been a time where you felt that someone violated your boundaries? 3. They deflect.
So, just to kind of like cover those two, oh man, what was the first thing they said? I think it was, oh, I've already forgotten. Yeah, the emotions in check. Now, as they said, writing that down, as they said too, like if you happen to relate to a couple of these things, it doesn't necessarily mean it. And like, I don't want us to watch this video and be like, oh my gosh, I have this problem. Like, yeah, exactly. Disproportionate emotions. It could also mean that there's like a, it could be other factors, not just emotional immaturity. So like we don't want to use these videos to diagnose ourselves or anything, but it could be helpful insight on like, people we're dealing with or how we interact with other people. And it can be used to just like better um keep track of how we're interacting with other people. Um the disproportionate emotions type thing, like, oh, welcome in, Viral. Thanks for getting third. I hope you're doing well. Um, so I'm just listening to the song. I know the VOD won't have the song. But yeah, I mean, disproportionate emotions are kind of like outbursts, as they mentioned. I have a very strong, like, experience with that. Oh, thank you for the Shrek ears. Oh my goodness, they're floating because I have no hair right now. Um, yeah, I mean, I have a very close relationship with someone who is emotionally immature. So I'd say I have like a lot of experience with this. But of course, everyone's experiences with someone who is, or even if it's you, is gonna be different. And there may be more symptoms than what they're gonna list. There may be less. Um, Kind of, what was the second thing they mentioned? They mentioned defensive and manipulative. That's a very big sign too. Um, and they also mentioned it's different when you're trying to explain your reasoning and your perspective versus blaming it on someone else. That's a big thing that I feel like a lot of people don't really take into factor. They'll see someone trying to explain their perspective and then they'll be like, oh, you're being manipulative. When that's not necessarily the case. Like, it's all about communication, really. I think that's the biggest impactor with emotional immaturity is communication. That's where you're going to see it the most, is like how someone interacts with you, how someone talks to you. And that can, in fact, that can impact your relationship with the person and how you feel around them, how you have to talk to them a certain way, or stuff like that, or maybe even your boundaries, like, I'm not talking to this person anymore. um That's why I think it's important to learn about like emotional immaturity, because it really impacts you as a person, the people you interact with, your relationships, your life in general. Like I think it's really important, and it really makes me sad that more people doesn't don't learn about it, because I was amazed to learn about this. Like I couldn't believe, like I thank you for my hair back finally. Um my like I couldn't believe I didn't know this stuff. I mean, I had just learned this stuff maybe a year ago, and it took me forever to learn that the world does not, in fact, have me at the center, and I am the cause of my own actions. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, we get into this world and we don't have a rule book, we don't have guidelines. I am so sad that everyone does not learn mental health, because it is so important. I mean, it impacts us all the time. It impacts our relationships, our interactions. Like, I'm going to say that a lot. Um I don't know, I just think it's so important. And like especially learning about emotional immaturity, and how to be better at that, or how to recognize when someone's, when you're interacting with someone like this, and how to kind of maneuver that is important, and we just don't learn it. Also, thank you for the head pat, Jimmy. Okay, we'll keep going. They're gonna start talking about deflecting, and this is another big thing too.
Let's explore the term deflection. People who deflect tend to shy away from important conversations. They tend to display a sort of discomfort when talking about anything that requires a large amount of analysis, introspection, or reflection. For example, they tend to bury anything beneath them that could produce negative emotional consequences, choosing to distract themselves from negative emotions rather than working through them. Or they can be hostile.
So to kind of address the deflection, I don't want you guys to hear that and be like, "Oh my gosh, I never address my emotions." Oh no. Like I think I'm not a professional, as we know, but I feel like there's a difference between, you know, avoiding those feelings um because they're like discomforting, and we're just not ready to like address them, and then there's a difference between avoiding them and having no interest at all in addressing them. Like there's nothing wrong, and how they mentioned a distraction and stuff, and like I don't know, I think it's a very thin line maybe. And also, like, if someone is being emotionally immature, it's important to recognize it and then work on it. I feel like that's the difference between someone who's just gonna stay emotionally immature. Like, I feel that way about a lot of things. Like, it's not just oh, you're a bad guy. Like, it's, oh, I haven't really been great at this, let me do better. And so, like, I don't want anybody to hear these things and be like, oh, I do these things. Oh, I must be a bad person. That's not the case. I think anybody can work on these things, and I think anybody can, experience these. I'm sure I definitely did this stuff. I used to do this stuff all the time. Um, all the time. And, I've worked on it a lot, and I'm not always perfect either. I think that's important too. Like, you're not going to always get it right. You're not going to be amazing at this, and it's about like working on it, and trying to do better with the intention to be kind to others. um yeah, I don't know, I think it's always like a working progress type thing. um okay, let me read what you guys said. um a high school class that everyone should take should be basic mental health. I agree. Man, this is so far 100% my manager. Hell yeah. As a person of Mexican descent, a lot of families tend to know, I'm assuming not believe in mental health straight up. Uh, Most people from the older gens think it's bullshit and pass that attitude onto other young people or younger people. Yeah. I mean, it's also very like, another important thing with therapy is you got to look at everybody through the context of their culture as well, because cultures are going to vary. so drastically, so drastically. And it's definitely important to acknowledge culture. And I'm glad that you brought that up too, because that is definitely important to acknowledge as well. Like it could just be a cultural thing too, and it's really hard to break those cultural barriers, especially when you're surrounded by people who don't do it with you. That's extremely difficult, and it's definitely important to bring that up too and acknowledge, like, hey, it's nice to try to do better, but you got to keep in mind like the environment you're going to be around is going to be tough too. And while it may be hard, I personally am of the opinion that it's still important to at least try. It's not always possible for everybody, and and that's okay. And you just got to do your best. And maybe it's not the time to be able to do some of these things and work on yourself or whatever, and that's okay too. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's you also got to think of culture too. Culture impacts us heavily, and so not everybody is readily available to interact with some people um, in a positive way like that too. You got to keep in mind the interactions you are going to have, regardless. And not everybody's going to work on their mental health either. You got to know that too. Like, when you interact with people, you might be working on your mental health, but that does not mean everybody around you is. I think that's one of the hardest things I've had to learn. I'm sure some of you guys might know, but I have a tough relationship with my mother. And she's one of those people who is not going to work on it. And I can't force her to. I've tried to work through it. I've tried to work with it, and it's something that's very difficult. And one of the hardest things I've had to learn is she's not going to learn it. I'm choosing to learn to do better with my mental health, and that's okay. Both are okay. Like, I just need to learn to build my boundaries and build my expectations and be able to handle what she might throw at me. Which is hard to do. Like, you obviously, might want to interact with someone who wants to work on themselves, and you can't force them to do that. And it's definitely tough to interact with someone who is not on the same level as you, in terms of like positive mental health. Yeah, there's a difference between deflecting an issue or just postponing it. Exactly, exactly. Uh, More professional than most of us. Oh, um, let's see. So what you're saying is I'm not just quirky and different. You know what? Maybe you are a little quirky and different. But yeah, I mean, yeah. Japan hires Americans to counter management because of culture. Um, of don't complain and just listen. Yeah, yeah. See, that's what I also mean about the difference in culture too. Like Asian cultures, I'm trying to think. They're a lot more. It's been like research proven. Definitely don't just take my word on it though. Like do your own research. But I've read a lot of articles and stuff on how they're more community based rather than individualized. So they'll definitely operate a different way than U.S. does. And that's I feel like that's also how like Hispanic cultures are too. Like they're more about the family rather than the individual. And that can be tough in its own sense because, when you're trying to work on your own mental health, that's not going to fly in a culture where they focus on community is more important than individual. Sometimes that's not always the case. Families are different, communities are different, and even though research says, oh, all Asian communities are more focused on the community rather than you as a person, that's not always true. Like it's going to be different. It's going to be different. And that's why like everyone's experience is different. That's just going off of statistics and like basic cultural traditions or whatever. But that's not always the case. So it's definitely important to like take this research and think about your own experiences and how they may relate or they may differ. So, um, also a lot of older generation people don't want to believe in mental health because it would mean they have to acknowledge that they, for example, fucked up raising their kids, didn't give them the support they needed, etc. Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to embarrassment and having to own up to stuff. That is some of the hardest things you'll have to do in life is owning up to something. That's something I've definitely worked on a lot. I don't think I had too many major issues owning up to things, but I know I did. I know I had issues. And it's hard. It's hard to admit that you've done something wrong. It's hard to admit that you've done something bad. And I think it's because we sit there and we internalize it and we're like, oh, this must mean we're a bad person. But that's not the case. Like, just because you did something wrong doesn't mean you're an awful person. Everybody messes up. We mess up on a daily basis. So it's okay to do things wrong and it's okay to mess up because we are human, we're not perfect, and we should not be holding ourselves to such high standards because everyone messes up. I cannot think of a single person who is perfect. No one's perfect. And we're unfortunately raised in a society where we're trained that you have to be perfect and you have to do right and blah blah blah, and you know everyone's either a good person or a bad person, and that's not the case. Which I think is also why like learning mental health would be so beneficial. But yeah, for like the older generations, sometimes it's hard to admit when you've done something wrong or didn't do something perfect. And I think that's true for anybody. Like, it's hard to admit doing wrong because then you're embarrassed. You're, you're, um, and sometimes it's hard to admit it because you don't want pity or, whatever reason. Like, there's a million reasons. The guilt, the shame. I think guilt and shame are two big things I've worked on a lot recently. I've had a really hard time with that. More so in the context of loving myself. And so that also adds on to it. Guilt and shame are very difficult to work with. But we all feel it and we all gotta go through it. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think that's big impactors on like admitting that. But if you can sit there and be open to the fact that you've made a mistake, that is huge. I mean, that's huge. If you're able to sit there and admit like, hey, I know earlier I was talking to you in kind of a messed up tone. I'm really sorry about that. Blah blah blah, then that means a lot to a person. Like, it's so important to be able to acknowledge when you've done something wrong and then apologize for it. Like, you lose nothing from apologizing. You literally lose nothing. Maybe a little bit of what is the word? A little bit of pride maybe, but what's that compared to someone else's feelings or like the experience you're having with someone, and the connection and you know, all that stuff. Like, I don't know. It's just it's a big thing to be able to say you're sorry, and not a lot of people can acknowledge that. And also acknowledging when you've done wrong, like that's huge. And it's not about like saying you've made a mistake and then making that person feel like shit. That's not that's not the idea. If someone does that, then there's something wrong with them. Some people mess up pretty badly, like cheating and abuse and stuff, and that's harder to forgive, and you might not get forgiveness. That's also important. Like, you don't want to apologize to seek forgiveness. You want to apologize to do better, honestly. And let the person know that you are sorry for doing that. Not because you want the person to forgive you or because you want to feel like you're a good person. Like, I feel like that's kind of misguided apologies. But sometimes people apologize for that reason, and it'll show. Um, my culture is made up of, I don't know how to say that. I don't want to pronounce it wrong. Or just to the root of it, warrior race culture. Oh, okay. So it's like both men and women aren't supposed to really feel much emotions. It's seen as weak to most people. Yeah, that's another common thing I feel like in a lot of society is like emotions are weak, which that really frustrates me personally. Um, I don't like, I obviously don't want to disrespect anyone's culture. So, like, and I don't want to hate on anyone's culture either. So, like, I totally understand, like, a lot of things are culture based, and I have immense respect for culture. Like, don't get me wrong. But I think when it comes to mental health, sometimes traditions or beliefs can be very harmful for that. And restricting emotions to being weak can be very harmful. Um, and it's something I try to avoid. Um, Again, like everyone has their own culture and like to each their own for sure. I don't want anybody to feel bad for their culture or anything like that. But like just speaking in terms of like the general idea of emotions being weak, it really frustrates me and upsets me because emotions are powerful. I mean, like how someone feels dictates a lot about someone's day, about someone's week, about someone's month, year, life. Like, and it's important to pay attention to how you're feeling because if you're feeling uncomfortable, that will impact you physically, that will impact your mentality, how you interact with that person, whatever it is. And emotions can tell you a lot about how a conversation is going. Emotions can tell you a lot about what you think about a person, how you feel around someone. I mean, for instance, like you're not going to want to hang out with someone who makes you uncomfortable constantly, who sexualizes you all the time, assuming it's not your partner and you're into that. But someone who's really creepy towards you all the time, they're very touchy with you or whatever the reason. Like you're not going to you're not going to want to be around someone like that. And if you are able to pick up on those feelings, then that can tell you, like, hey, I need to set a boundary with this person, or hey, I don't want to hang out with this person anymore, or whatever it is that is needed. Um, and I don't know. Like, I think emotions can tell us a lot about ourselves and other people. Um, and it just makes it really sad when we're trained to see it as a weakness because we're sad, because we want to cry, or because we're really mad and we want to blow up. Now, granted, like you gotta take that with a grain of salt, kind of like relating back to the emotional immaturity. Like you don't want to just blow out or blow off, blow up on someone. Like you don't want to just start screaming at someone out of nowhere. That's usually a result, I feel like, because you bottled it. Like you've been angry at this person for a while. You're not just gonna blow up on someone because they just stole your food. Like they've been doing it for a while. You're sick of it. You haven't said anything to them, and now you're just gonna scream at them because they haven't picked up on the fact that you don't like that. And that's also why I think it's important to understand your emotions because then you can address them. Be like, hey, I notice you've been stealing my fries this week. I really don't like when you do that. Like that's the difference between doing that and then blowing up on someone. And I think that's kind of the difference for emotional immaturity too. Like an emotionally immature person will just wait until they blow up because they don't see those signs. They don't, like, we're not trained to pay attention to our emotions. We're not trained to recognize when we're uncomfortable and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. Like I think that's kind of like what they're getting at too. What do you mean I am perfect? Okay. Okay. You're right. Doubt. No. What are we doubting? Sorry, I'm like reading these a little slow. I'm kind of yapping. No, I know a lot of my culture needs work. Yeah, that's how my ex was. LMAO. Yeah. Yeah. It's on site if someone touches my fries. You know what? That's so fair though. You know what? You're setting that boundary very early. My fries. My back is big. Wait. My back is big. My issues are bigger. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of like what I was saying. Like, I think emotional maturity allows you to establish those boundaries a little faster and be more comfortable with talking to people and understanding how you feel and how others might feel even. Um okay, let's go ahead and get back to the video. I've been yapping for a while. So they're going to talk about being hostile.
Sarna and colleagues found that poor emotional regulation played a role in hostility related to vulnerable narcissism. Do you know of someone who exhibits these characteristics of low psychological maturity? And number 5, they have a strong need for the presence of others.
Mm.
Emotionally immature people often feel uncomfortable spending time on their own, perhaps because solitude forces people to be alone with their thoughts and emotions, something that emotionally immature people are not comfortable with. Why might this?
So I still experience this. I 100% still experience this. Lately, I've been having an urge to just go outside, but I get super uncomfortable with going out alone. And I'm sure part of that is probably like social anxiety or whatever. But I feel really uncomfortable doing things by myself. And I take great value in doing things with others. I love spending time with other people, my main people. You know, I don't want to be socializing with everybody, but you know, like the people I'm comfortable with, the people I trust. I love hanging out with them and I love spending time with them, and it's to the point where like sometimes I feel really uncomfortable doing things by myself. And I really like that they pointed this out because emotionally immature people will, in my experience, they will do things to get people's attention or to get their reactions, um, to essentially force people to spend time with them a lot of the times. I've had a lot of experiences where I know this person who won't go out and do things by themselves and constantly ask me to go do it with them, and then they'll blow up in my face if I don't do it with them. I mean, I feel like it's things like that. Like, um, it becomes almost like a manipulation thing. I feel like now, of course, I'm talking from personal experience. So again, like, I'm not the absolute best person to go to talk about this. I don't know a whole lot about it. I only know my own experience. Um, but yeah, I found that the emotionally immature people that I know were very heavily dependent on me. And even when I was very heavily emotionally immature, I was very dependent on other people. And that put me in a very difficult situation. I have had a lot of abusive relationships in my past, and that has placed me into some very difficult situations because I've been so dependent on other people. And that's not to say it's only my, my emotional immaturity that did that. You know, I have some other problems, whatever, but um it can be, I feel like, very dangerous to be emotionally immature, not only for yourself but for others too. Um so I don't know. I think it's very important to learn these things, and if we can try to work on it, but yeah, I don't know. Like, it's it's very difficult to, not to talk about society again, but to live in an environment where everything's based off of doing things with others and everything's based off of community and stuff like that. But we also need our alone time too. We need to recharge, be by ourselves, do things alone, and we have to have comfort in doing things alone. Um, Lately, I've learned I really like to go to Dairy Queen by myself. I love going there and just getting ice cream and watching the TV and chilling, and not everybody's comfortable with that. And yet, I can do that, but the moment I go to McDonald's by myself, I get really uncomfortable. Or if I go, I went to an ice cream place, it's outside, and I went to eat ice cream by myself, and there's a bunch of other people with other people, and I felt awkward because I was the only person by myself. And it's okay to do stuff by yourself. It doesn't matter if everybody else is there with somebody. It'll feel really uncomfortable, let me tell you. I felt so uncomfortable. I was sweating. I was shaking. Like, I was so uncomfortable. And, I took notice of that and I was like, okay, I'm probably not going to do this again because it makes me so physically uncomfortable. Um, and like definitely don't push yourself. Um, it's important to work within your comfort zone, but maybe a little bit out of it, you know? And that was just something that made me very uncomfortable. I think I'd like to try it again because I'd like to be able to go and get ice cream by myself. But I think I need to work myself up to that to be more comfortable with that. I also had some past trauma with locations. I used to be very paranoid about going out to certain places. So I'm sure that's probably added to my situation personally. But I'm working a lot because I want to be able to feel comfortable and feel safe to go out and do stuff. I'm working very heavily on, defeating the idea that women aren't safe outside. Um, I'm trying to enable myself to safely go out and be able to do things without being scared of, being kidnapped or whatever, or being approached by weird people, you know. Um, but yeah, I mean, I gotta also keep in mind that sometimes those things do happen, and not to allow it to control what I do. I just realized I forgot to try Dairy Queen when I was visiting Cat. Oh no, you gotta try Dairy Queen. Dairy Queen's so good. I love going to Dairy Queen. That's like one of my favorite spots. I there's two different type, not to like derail too much, but there's two different types of people who go to Dairy Queen. There's one who eat there and then get the free ice cream or get ice cream after, and then there's people who only go there for ice cream. I am definitely the type of person to eat there and then get my ice cream. I have also just gone there for ice cream too, though. It's a different activity, like it's two different experiences. Anyways, if anything, I'm just used to doing stuff alone, and that's okay too. Like, I think it's okay to do anything you want alone, and it's okay to do anything you want with other people. I don't feel like I should enter the U.S. again for the next 4 years. Yeah, that's fair. that's really fair. I don't even blame you on that. I do not blame you. I think uh, I don't want to get too much into politics either, but um, politics definitely influence how things are gonna go, and I think it has definitely influenced a lot of mental health, and I think that's why even for the next 4 years, it's gonna be really important to talk about mental health. Extremely important to talk about mental health. People are going through a lot right now. I had a crazy person yell at me while working. It was odd. Yeah. Yeah, and that's another thing, like especially for customer service, like you're gonna meet a wide variety of people. A wide variety of people who cannot control their emotional maturity. And you're gonna have to learn how to deal with that. Or it's gonna upset you too. And it's really hard. I think that that's something I've also been working on a lot because as soon as someone gets angry with me, I want to cry. I'm so serious. I will immediately want to cry. I am so emotional and I'm like easily set off like that. And that's, that could be emotional immaturity, but that could also just be like the type of person I am. Like there's nothing wrong with wanting to feel your feelings, and I don't really have a great hold on mine, so I'd like to get a better control over it because I don't want to just cry in front of a stranger. That's embarrassing. And then it makes them act a different way, and I don't want that either, especially when I'm working. Like, um, come get Dairy Queen with me in Canada. True, if I can't see Cat in November, I'll just goon with the tomb. What? Exactly. Can you please say Big Chungus send his regards? I got you, brother. I got you. Welcome in. Is it, do you usually go by fan? What do you normally go by? But welcome in. Yeah, let's get back to emotional immaturity though. I'm gonna go ahead and play it more. I think it's about to end though. We only got a couple more minutes.
Spending time with others could serve as a distraction for emotionally immature people.
Mm-hmm.
Take their minds off of something emotionally taxing that they may wish to bury. It takes a sense of emotional maturity to be introspective and feel your emotions fully. The impact of prolonged emotional immaturity can affect relationships and personal life.
Yes.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, I mean I think that's pretty much it. I want to pause this. Yeah, I mean I think they covered it pretty well. It's gonna vary between people's experiences though, so keep that in mind. Like it's not gonna be exactly how the video says, or even how I say. We're all gonna have different life experiences and stuff like that. So, this next one is 8 signs of mature people. So this is the opposite perspective. So these are positive things that maybe you can find within yourself.
Maturity is not simply something that comes with age. Whether you're physically old or young, emotional maturity comes from how you act and think in life. Do you wonder if you're more mature than most? Wise beyond your age, they say. Are you often considered the old soul in your group of friends? Then perhaps you may recognize some of these signs of emotional maturity. 1. You acknowledge you know very little. Along with the willingness to learn things, you feel no embarrassment in admitting that you don't know everything. Carrying this mindset creates an appetite for curiosity and the ability to appreciate learning. This also ties into the Dunning-Kruger effect, where one is overconfident in their abilities, which unknowingly limits their intake of knowledge. The Greek philosopher Socrates once said, "The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing."
Mm-hmm.
2.
I could not have said that better. Can you turn up the volume? Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for letting me know. I will turn it up a little bit. We'll turn it up to like half. We'll see how that works. But yeah, what they were saying basically was like there is so much like maturity and like honestly respect that comes from acknowledging that you don't know things. Like honestly, I think that that is honestly so attractive in a person in general, like in general. When they acknowledge that they don't know everything because it's really it can be pretty frustrating. I love Greeks. Yeah. Yeah, the audio sounds kind of muted. Okay, hopefully this helps. But it's a lot. It's very impressive to have someone acknowledge that they don't know everything and they don't know something. And I think you're able to learn more when you are able to be like, "Hey, I don't really know this. Can you teach me?" You learn so much more that way. When instead of being like, "Oh, I already know this," like whatever. Like even when I've already learned something, I'm still convinced I don't know anything. And I think that has enabled me to learn more. Um, Part of me is a little frustrated because I wanna master something, right? Like everybody wants to know something extremely well, you know. But it can be kind of frustrating, you know, feeling like you don't know anything super well. But I'm also able to acknowledge when I do know things. But even when I do know things, I still like to learn. And, you know, even if I know everything there is to know about, like pandas, for instance, I know I'm not an expert. I still don't do a lot of things that other people do. And it's really interesting for me to learn more about pandas from other people and watch informational videos on that stuff that I don't know. Um, I don't know. I just think it's overall a good approach to just approach things like you don't know it. And I think people receive you a lot better too. If you're instead of being like, "Oh, I already know this," like, "Oh, blah blah blah," like whatever, versus being like, "Hey, I do know a lot about this, but I'd really love to hear your perspective on it. Like, what do you think about this?" And not everybody knows more than you. Not everybody knows less than you. So it's different. But yeah. Big difference though between saying you don't know everything and being self-deprecating. Absolutely, I completely agree. There is definitely a big difference in being like I don't know anything at all and being like I don't know some things. Um, there's extremes to everything, I think, and we definitely don't want to be on like extreme perspective, because then it reaches an instance of depression or narcissism or something like that. Which not to say either of those things are like the worst thing ever, but it can be more indicative of other problems rather than emotional immaturity or maturity. So, um, Thank you for bringing that up, Naoni. I'm mostly lurking since I'm at work, but I'm here. Okay, I hope you have a good lurk, Viral. I like to think information is information, no matter if it's well known or not. Yeah, I think that's a good way to approach it, honestly. Like I like to approach it in a way that's like, oh, it's knowledge. Like I'd love to get more, but I don't need to know everything. And, I also know that I don't know nothing. So, I don't know. I think it's just modesty really too. So, yeah.
Open mind towards the opinions and beliefs of others.
This one's a big one.
Being able to see different points of view allows us to accept others' differences in opinions.
Can you guys
and
hear it
thoughts
better, by
with
the way?
respect, humility, and empathy, regardless of whether you agree with them or not. Do you find yourself actively listening to the views and opinions of others? Being able to tolerate the perspectives of others without forcing your opinions upon them makes you someone people can trust. Trust goes hand in hand with being approachable. The ability to have this open mind ensures that you take advantage of opportunities to learn and enrich your life with the everlasting flow of knowledge. 3. You feel no
I could not agree with that more. I love the idea. And I love that they explicitly said active listening versus listening to someone. Active listening is so different than listening to someone. Because when you actively listen to someone, you're actually listening to what they say. Like you're taking in what they're saying and you're formulating, you're thinking about, how to connect to this conversation or, what that means for that person. Listening is just letting someone talk and not actually like hearing their words. Active listening is like attending to the person and stuff like that. And um, it's so important, especially like for anyone who's looking to go into like the counseling field. Active listening is like one of the most important things you can do. But even like in regular relationships or interactions with just strangers or whatever, like it goes a long way when you actually listen to the person and talk to them. Um, it means a lot to actively listen to someone, and I think that says a lot about someone's maturity too, because we're not taught to actively listen. We're taught to listen. And some people will get carried away. I know I've done it, definitely. I used to get carried away with what I'm going to say and what opinion I'm going to press on someone. I used to be that way. I used to absolutely be that way. I would constantly have to think of a reply I'm going to give. I would have to think about how I'm going to combat this opinion they're forcing on me or whatever. But I think it's mainly about listening to a person, understanding their perspective. It's not so much pushing your agenda on someone. It's about learning about someone else's opinion, um, and understanding and learning, um, mostly, I would say. And I think that does take a lot of emotional maturity to be able to learn someone else's perspective. Because not everybody wants to do that, especially in politics and nowadays. You said the audio's better? Good, good.
embarrassment in admitting your mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes in life, and that's perfectly okay. Maturity is when you hold yourself responsible for your mistakes and build trust rather than deny and lose respect. In fields like business, those who accept and learn from their mistakes frequently get higher leadership positions than those who don't. Whether it's work or your mind, growth directly correlates with the willingness to acknowledge your weaknesses. How has being responsible contributed to your overall work ethic? 4. You
I agree. Once again, like kind of like how we were talking about earlier, like it means a lot to be able to apologize for something, acknowledge you've done something wrong or you've made a mistake. I mean, as the video pointed out, like this can open up people to trust you more and rely on you better because you're honest and you're open about things even when you've done something wrong. Because again, we all make mistakes and it's important to be able to acknowledge when we've made those mistakes. It's a lot different than someone who won't acknowledge what they've done wrong and just constantly lie or avoid the truth or whatever, like That's a completely different person. You don't want to be around someone who lies all the time and who avoids, acknowledging they've done wrong. That's not someone you want to be around. Um, yeah.
You are open and willing to accept change. With modern day advances, society is always changing. The importance of certain issues can drastically change in a short period of time. As funny as it may sound, change is the only promised consistency in life. Being able to mold our ideas and beliefs on new and reliable information helps you keep up with the everlasting cycle of change in our lives. This emphasizes the importance of being aware and mindful of different ideas and perspectives. The human race and its success is the result of our natural instinct to adapt and change to anything new. Whether it be Blockbuster or Kodak film, there are many historic examples of success being toppled by the stubbornness to change. What made you change a long-held belief? Has that improved your way of thinking about yourself or others? 5.
Change is so important. Oh my god, I've had to learn that the hard way. I used to be someone who was very afraid of change. I hated change. It made me very uncomfortable. It made me embarrassed. I felt a lot of guilt, and a lot of shame too. And it's been a very hard journey to learn to change. And the truth is, like, everything's adapting around you, and you know, um, it's hard to change. Absolutely, it's definitely not an easy thing to do, but it can go a long way when you're able to kind of adapt to things and mold your ideas. And you know I can see how it promotes like emotional maturity, because you're mature enough to let go of ideas. You're mature enough to adapt to different ideas. I mean, we learn things all the time, and sometimes we learn things we never knew, and then we're like, oh, I'm gonna make this my philosophy now. Like, this is so like mind altering and life changing. Like, this is gonna be part of what I want to advocate for, and that happens all the time. Yeah, it's so exhausting if somebody starts an entire argument if you just want to talk about an issue you had with their behavior. Oh, don't even get me started. I have had those conversations several times with several different people, unfortunately. And it's so exhausting because you just want to talk about the issue. You don't want to like, the point of confrontation, I feel like, is to bring up an issue, not make someone feel like a piece of shit for doing wrong, because we all do wrong. We all mess up. But like, the important factor is willing to change and willing to do better and to adapt to this person being upset by what you did. I mean, that shows so much maturity, emotional maturity, to be able to change when someone tells you like, "Hey, I didn't like the way you did this." I mean, that's the difference, honestly. That's the difference. The memories. Mm-hmm. Dude, anybody at my freaking workplace? Well, except for like two or three. Yeah, you'll find too. I feel like not a lot of people are emotionally mature. I feel like there's definitely gonna be a lot of people out there, but you just gotta find them. And I think it's kind of hard, if I'm being honest. I feel like I've met a wide variety of people, and I've met a lot of emotionally immature people. And it's difficult. It's really difficult. And unfortunately, we have to learn to kind of work with them, because we can't get rid of them, and we can't help them if they don't want to be helped. So they either start an argument or have an entire midlife crisis over it. Mm-hmm, exactly. And I think that's kind of covering the whole like emotional outburst, like when they have like the whole crisis over it, like that's kind of like, I think, what they were talking about as well. But I am a piece of shit and well aware of it. No, no, no. Come on now. You're a good person. I know it. I don't know, we all make mistakes. And, as long as we're able to be aware of those mistakes and willing to change and do better, I think that says a lot about a person. It's about acknowledging it, understanding it, and then also working towards it. And, we're not all at those stages, like, sometimes we're able to acknowledge it, but we still have to work through like the guilt or shame or whatever to understand it better or to actually do something about it. And that's okay. Like everybody's going to get there at their own pace. Um I think the important thing is that you're trying to understand it and everything. Like I don't know. I ordered Berber. Oh my goodness, I want one. Get me a Berber. But yeah, I don't know. Like a lot of people are like, "Oh, I don't really do anything or I'm not really working that hard. I'm not really strong or whatever or like whatever." But you'd be amazed at all the little steps and how much they actually mean. Like just taking a step to understand your feelings, for example. That's a big step. I mean, just to acknowledge, like, wow, I feel really down today. I don't think I want to talk to anybody today. That's a big step. I mean, that's huge. That is huge. To be able to self-analyze yourself and be able to be like, hey, let's not do this today. I'm not feeling it. I ordered two. Come over. I still owe you because of the Chimp King gifts. Okay, very good, very good. I'm on it. Where did you order a burger from? What place? I need to know what I'm eating. You know, what type of burger. But yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people downplay the effort they're giving to mental health and others, and especially when it's about yourself. A lot of people downplay themselves. Um, it's called Burger Syndicate. Oh, I've never heard of it. It's got to be good. It's got like a tough name too. It's got a tough name. It's got to be a good burger. Anyways, let's go ahead and go to number 5.
You're considerate of how your words and actions affect others.
Mm.
Whether you're nervous or trying to keep a conversation flowing, it's easy to lose track of what you say. Although it might be a tough habit to master, considering what impact your words will have on someone before you say them can be crucial to what others perceive you as. How have you shown consideration to others in your words and actions taken? 6.
I feel like that could be one of the easiest things to do. I feel like a lot of the times we all are thinking about others more than ourselves. So I think that's pretty easy. Like, I feel like that comes more naturally to some people. However, it's a lot more than just thinking about someone else. It's, as they mentioned, it's thinking about how they might feel if you say something. How your actions impact someone else. Not like, oh, maybe they probably want to go to the park today. Let's go to the park because I think they want to go there. Like that's different. Um, there's a lot more depth into it that I don't think a lot of people realize, but I think a lot of us do it naturally, anyways. I really do. Like I think a lot of people are very prone to thinking about what other people are feeling or what other people are thinking, and sometimes we use that to attack ourselves, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that says a lot about emotional maturity too, definitely. I mean, it says a lot when you're able to think of other people and their perspective, how they might feel, what they might be thinking, that's a lot of introspection, a lot of like analysis to do. So, yeah. It's a pretty good indie burger place in my city. Ooh, it does sound good. Sounds good. I'm excited to eat my burger. Mhm.
You can forgive others and let go. Ever had a falling out with someone that you felt bitter about for a long time after? It doesn't feel good, does it? Maturing is being able to put that grudge aside and move on. Moving on may be forgetting the past and maintaining a healthy relationship, or even evaluating the incident and being at peace that the two of you simply did not fit and you go separate ways. Can you recall a time when you resolved a disagreement after holding a grudge against someone? 7.
I think grudges are probably my biggest difficulty. I've always held grudges. And I still definitely struggle with that. I would say I more so hold grudges against myself a lot, but I've also held a lot of grudges, grudges are like about other people or against other people. I have a really hard time letting go of things, especially when I do it myself, but also when someone's really wronged me, like really badly, I have a hard time letting that go. And that's kind of how they mentioned, like, sometimes you just gotta realize you're not a good fit with someone, and I've done that. I've done a lot of that. Um, and I think it's okay to to kind of be able to admit like, hey, I can't see this person the same after that, you know? And that's a really big, like, mature and responsible thing to be able to acknowledge. Um, in all cases, we can't do that. Sometimes there's people who don't treat us well. We hold a huge grudge against them, but we can't cut them out of our life right now. You may be living with them, you may be working with them, you know, and it's difficult. Um, it's better to both parties. Exactly, exactly. But you know, in some cases, we can't always do that. So it's kind of learning to work with those people is also important. But also like taking care of yourself because it's going to be exhausting having to deal with those people if you have to. So you got to do a lot of self-care, honestly, because it's going to be exhausting until you can remove yourself from that situation or whatever. I mean, I'm currently dealing with that now. Um my ex was like that. We were not compatible exactly. I have tons of ex stories that were just like that too. Um let's see. I feel like I'm too aware of it. I don't like making people upset for any reason. No, I feel that too. I am the same way. I struggle with that a lot. Kind of going back, I think it was number 6 that talked about that, like being aware of other people's emotions. I feel the same way. I've been working on it a lot because I don't like, I get upset easily if I've upset someone and then they have to turn around and comfort me, and that's not okay to me personally. I don't like that. I don't want someone to tell me they're upset with me and then I get upset because then that does not leave room for me to address their upset, you know? And I've acknowledged that and I've been working on it a lot and it's tough to overcome because, you know, you have your own emotions. And I think that's part of like controlling my own emotions better is like working to not get so upset when someone tells me they're upset with me because I'm upset, they're upset. When instead I should be focusing on the fact that they're upset. What can I do to better take care of that? You know. But again, like no one's perfect. I certainly am not. So it's a work in progress. I'm not sure if it counts as being a grudge if I just still continue to assume somebody is going to be unreliable and just continue to be cordial going forward. Um, I think a grudge, in terms of like how I see it, is more so like when you hold something against someone, like aggressively, if that makes sense. Like, I think if you decide to go cordial like going forward, I think that's just setting boundaries, honestly. I really just think you're just setting boundaries. Like you've seen this person be unreliable. And so to kind of separate yourself from having to deal with that, you've just decided, hey, like we're just going to keep this professional or whatever. I think a grudge would be a little more vindictive, I feel like. Like more so like, oh, this person isn't reliable, so I'm going to start being nasty towards them, you know? Like I feel like it's more aggressive with it. At least in my experience and what I think of when I think of grudges. Um, so I think when they're saying like let go of grudges, like let go of being so angry with that person and um kind of like letting go of the strong emotions you have towards that person instead of letting them affect how you treat them. I think that's kind of like I think that's kind of uh like the biggest indicator of a grudge versus being like setting boundaries is like you're willing to let go of the emotion attached to the person and not treat them poorly because you find them unreliable or they've upset you. You know, like I think that's the difference. Is like treating someone with respect even though you found out that they're not reliable or you know, whatever. Like I think the biggest thing is just not stooping to their level type thing. Like you don't want to treat them poorly because they treated you poorly. Like I feel like that's kind of more grudge like um and like getting even with them. Um because it doesn't help. Like yeah, you might feel a little better because you've done the same thing they did, so now they know what it's like, but they're not going to learn that way. No one learns that way. you just get more angry, and it adds more emotion, and it adds more upset. Like that's an immature way to handle it. And I think how you handled it was very mature. Like you saw how you felt about it. You recognize they're probably not going to change about it, or whatever, and you set a boundary. So I don't know. I think that's a very healthy way to approach it. I don't think that's a grudge. Um, but yeah, I yeah. Let's go ahead and go to number 7.
You're empathetic to yourself and others. The
Mm.
ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes means that you can position yourself in different situations as well as different perspectives. It can also help you understand a variety of challenges and get along with people during difficult times. When was the last time you empathized with someone, and what was it for? And 8.
That's a big thing. I think we've kind of discussed that too. Like empathizing with others and yourself is so important. Like being able, like they said, put yourself in others' shoes. I think it's more so harder to empathize with ourselves, honestly. Like I think it's super easy to empathize with others. For some people it isn't. And, that can be, mental health issues or even just in general. It's a lot harder for some people, and, that's totally valid. Um, but I think for a lot of people, it's a lot harder to do it for yourself. Um, and I think both are equally important um, for being emotionally mature, because you can't take care of others if you don't take care of yourself. I need to let my cat out real quick, so I will be right back. Go ahead and stare at this number 8. Or you know what? I can. No, because I'm going to want to hear it too with you guys, so I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. Super quick. Super quick. Um, Never thought about doing it for myself. Yeah, I feel like a lot of us are kind of like almost trained to not do it for ourselves, but it's so important. And it impacts a lot of your interactions. Being able to empathize with yourself. And that's one thing I have actually been working on a lot recently. I judge myself a lot, very heavily, and I think a lot of people can relate to that. And it gets to the point where it gets in the way of me empathizing for myself. And one big thing I've been working on is not judging my actions. So like if I panic and I decide to not hang out with someone because I just can't handle it that day, I'll judge myself and feel guilty and be like, "Oh man, you should have hung out with her. Like you haven't hung out with her in a while. Like dude, get it together." When in reality, I should be approaching it with empathy. Like, yeah, you know what? You've had a tough day today. It's okay to miss, something with a friend right now. You've had a really rough day, dude, and you deserve to just relax and, whatever. Like it's about approaching yourself and others with the same empathy. Um I actually don't think it's easy to empathize with people. I think really is easy is sympathizing with people. That's fair. That's fair. Um, yeah, yeah, I would agree with that honestly, because there's definitely a difference between empathizing and sympathizing. Empathizing is really, really hard because it actually means seeing it from somebody else's perspective while also taking their current and previous experiences into account. Yeah, that's true. That's true. There is a lot when you have to like empathize with someone. It does take a lot out of you. And that's kind of like the important thing to recognize too. Like practicing emotional maturity is going to be exhausting. It's going to take a lot out of you. And I think that's why a lot of people result to just being emotionally immature because it's easier. And, but also sometimes it's not easier too. That sometimes takes a lot out of you as well. So it's a lot to kind of think about all these things and processes and try to, you know, approach people with kindness and stuff. And um but I think as we practice and we get better at it, it'll become second nature and it'll become easier. While sympathizing is just, hey, I'd be upset if this was me. I feel bad for you. Pat, pat. Yeah, 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 yeah. Because empathizing is more so like understanding the perspective. I believe. I don't want to like, don't quote me on that. While like sympathizing is more so like just being able to be like, yeah, you know, if I were in that place, you know, I'd probably be upset too. Like, it's more generalized, I believe. Whereas empathize, you actually can relate on some level, which is more difficult. Um, yeah, it's a lot to process and a lot to work through and work on. Um, that's why I also think there should be a class on it and just more information out there and work done on it, because it's so important. Like, especially to get as like a habit. Um, I think everybody should know it. And I think everybody should be able to access this type of information and encouraged to utilize it. Um, yeah. Empathy typically requires an understanding on the person. Yeah, exactly. And that can take a lot out of somebody to like understand the person. Not a lot of people realize how much um, that can take out of you to try and understand someone, and especially from their perspective, because it's a totally different thing to understand someone from your own perspective, but to be able to try to understand theirs and kind of work from an angle of their perspective rather than your own is so different. Um, yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and go to number 8.
You ask for help when needed. It's often believed that avoiding help is being independent, strong, and mature, whereas the reality is the opposite. Asking for help is admitting your own shortcomings, displaying humility, and showing an awareness of self-care. This
Mm-hmm.
also shows that the person has the confidence to show vulnerability and knows they will still be okay afterward. What are some situations where you reached out for help?
Oh, is it
Do
about
you
to
see
end?
yourself in any of these points?
Oh, okay, yeah.
How mature do you feel yourself to be? Regardless of if you do or don't see any of these signs in yourself right now, thank you for watching and learning. We're all in this together.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know which sign you value the most and why in the comment section below.
So yeah, I mean, asking for help is a big thing too. I mean, it's really hard to ask for help. I think that's something I still struggle with. Like, it's hard for someone to know when you need help if you don't ask. If you don't verbalize it, no one can read your mind. And having, you know, that confidence and that that knowledge to know to ask for help and to be comfortable with asking for help takes a lot out of somebody. And however, it can mean a lot of emotional maturity, and um I don't know. I think that could really improve interactions and relationships. um I'm thinking in terms of like in any area of life, I feel like, but especially in like a work environment, I have a really hard time asking for help. However, sometimes that'll lead me to like do my job wrong, or um, I'll end up having to speed through things and rush and not get things done properly, or you know, I'll do something that I don't really know how to do, but I'm like, oh, I could probably just figure this out myself, and then it ends up being wrong and stuff like that. And I think it makes room for more mistakes, and then that's mistakes I have to own up to and acknowledge, and then it kind of adds to that cycle. So I think asking for help could be one of those like first steps too. And you know, maybe it could be a little easier to practice than some of these other ones because, um, well, I don't know, because it's also difficult to ask for help as well. Like, it's just as difficult as the other ones, too. Um, but maybe it's more readily available to practice as well. And it can be practiced in a wide variety of ways, I feel like asking help with, like, streaming setups, or asking help with, like, um, medication, or having someone teach you how to do something, having someone um, help you to do an activity or something, like pushing a chair or something like that. Like, I feel like you can apply this to several different things, whereas some of them might be a little harder to practice. Like active listening, you have to have someone to talk to be able to active listen. Um, there needs to be someone speaking for you to actively listen to someone. I guess there is another person that has to be there for help as well. Um, but I guess for listening, like mm, there needs to be some type of discussion happening, I guess. Whereas help, you can just approach someone that you're not actively in conversation, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think they're all pretty equally hard. Um, and it takes a lot of courage and a lot of like respect, honestly, and willingness to try out some of these things and work on it. Now I know we've been going for almost 3 hours, but I do be yapping a lot. I have like a lot more videos I wanted to get through. Next we have attachment style. How long is this one? It's like 4 minutes. Okay, I think we'll go through attachment style, and then I think we'll be done. Let's see. I'll probably play just a little bit of Sims. I think that's what the plan is. Because I do have to start getting ready. I'm going to a wedding after this. Super excited. Um, Unfortunately, not my own wedding. Yes, Sims. Um, yeah. So we'll go ahead and watch attachment styles. We haven't had anything too heavy today, I feel like. I do have like another one. Okay, this one is about like love languages, the next one. But we'll probably have to do that another time. But this is a lot of fun. What? Not engaged yet? I know. What can I say? I have bad taste. Gasp. When's Sukuna gonna pop the question? That's what I'm saying. Crazy cat lady incoming. Yeah. um. But yeah. Let's go ahead and watch this one. This one's on attachment styles. I've learned this a lot through my textbooks. I've learned a lot of like attachment styles based off of childhood experiences. A little bit of how it might affect like an adult in like their connections and relationships. So it'll be kind of interesting to see what they say and what they have to offer. Um, I'm sure I'll definitely learn something new, absolutely, because I don't know a whole lot about attachment styles either. Um, yeah. Okay, let's go into it.
Hey Psych-goers, welcome back to another video. Before we begin, we would like to thank you for all the support that you've given us. Psych2Go's mission is to help everyone learn more about psychology and mental health in a fun and digestible manner. Now, let's begin. Did you know that your attachment style can say a lot about you? In the same way the Myers-Briggs personality type can reveal the kind of
Fire.
person you are, your attachment style can also provide insight into the types of relationships you're likely to develop.
I think I don't know if you guys have ever done this test, the Myers-Briggs personality test. If you literally look that up, you could probably find it and then go take it yourself. I think I'm like a INFJ or INFP. I think that's what mine is. I'd have to take it again because I don't remember. Gotta do it. Yeah, yeah. So if you guys want to, you would just look up Myers-Briggs and then probably personality test, and it'll be on there. If anybody ever like is curious about that, because it can tell you a lot about like the type of person you are, how you function, you know, and it's really interesting. It's so cool. They even give you, I believe, if I remember right, they give you like little characters. I think I'm like the wizard or something. Really cute, super great. But yeah, anyway.
Develop. However, you should note that just as with any type or style, this is only meant to be a guide. So
Yeah.
keep watching to find out what your attachment style says about you.
So like how they were saying, definitely don't like take this with a grain of salt, right? Like it's something interesting, something that can definitely tell you a lot about yourself, but like, you know, we're not meant to use this to judge ourselves or base our entire personality off of this, okay? So like yeah. I mean, you are also able to change, so retaking it exactly. Can also make you realize the change you went through. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's also something you could take multiple times. I haven't taken it in a while, so I'm sure I probably have changed. Um, yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool because it's something you could take again and again and again, and like you'll get different stuff with some time. Um, yeah, it's really interesting to find out like what it says about you and your personality. Okay, but now we're going to learn about the attachment styles.
What are the attachment styles? Attachment styles look into the relationships between people. It was first developed by John Bowlby, who was interested in the behaviors infants had expressed when separated from their caregivers. He defined attachment as a lasting psychological connectedness between human beings, which can be observed and categorized through a pattern of behaviors and motivations. These attachment behaviors were later developed into 4 distinct categories: secure, anxious ambivalent, avoidant, and disorganized attachment. Secure attachment. Are you comfortable with yourself? Children with a secure attachment are more independent and have a good sense of self-esteem, which helps them perform well in school and with social relationships. As adults, you're able and more willing to attend to the needs of your loved ones without complications. According to Mark Manson, people with a secure attachment are able to reassure anxious types and give space to avoidant types without feeling insecure. Your strong sense of independence and healthy self-esteem allows you to set healthy boundaries in your relationships. Anxious ambivalent attachment. Are you always suspicious or doubtful of other people's intentions? Anxious or ambivalent attachment in children may have been a result of inconsistent attention from caregivers. Your parents may become warm and nurturing one minute and cold and insensitive the next, which may make you confused and distrustful of them. Yet, you still have to cling to them to get your needs met. This alertness and suspicion of others will carry over into adulthood, where you may require constant reassurance for the anxiousness and distrustfulness you feel. Avoidant attachment. You withdraw yourself or repress your emotions when you're stressed. As a child, those who develop avoidant attachment likely did not have their needs met by their caregiver. You may have been discouraged from crying or expressing your feelings, which may cause you to lean to ignore your wants, needs, and sensations to maintain your relationship with your caregiver. This habit to disconnect and minimize your emotions can continue on to adulthood. As an adult with an avoidant attachment, you may perceive your partner as needing too much attention or being too clingy, since you are uncomfortable with emotional intimacy. Disorganized, avoidant, fearful attachment. Do you sometimes not know how to react or feel about your parents? Disorganized attachment develops when a child feels that there is no secure way to get their needs met. As a child, your relationship with an unpredictable caregiver may cause you to have difficulty establishing a consistent view of your parents and yourself. Unfortunately, these confusions and behaviors can carry over into adulthood, affecting your relationships with others. You may have trouble developing good social and emotional regulation skills, where you end up prioritizing the behaviors that will get your needs met. So, what can you do? If you're worried that
So that was a lot to take in. There's a lot of different styles. I'm not 100% sure on this. I don't know how old this video was, but I want to say, don't quote me on this, but I think there might be another one, but I'm not entirely sure. Maybe I'm wrong. Um, I'm definitely detached. Yeah. I've had like some struggle with this because like I've looked at some of my past and I'm like, oh, maybe I'm anxious. Like I feel like I've had that, but with anxious attachment, you're typically like a lot of people will label that person as clingy or um very dependent on people. And I've never really been like that. Um I felt some of those feelings, but I don't think that's my like attachment style. Um, I feel like sometimes I've experienced that, but it's not like my main thing. I would say I think I resonate a lot more with the avoidant or detached because I've had a lot of issues where like I'll just kind of check out. And in relationships and that can definitely be difficult. It's like to deal with. And kind of like going through my past relationships and reflecting on my relationships with my family and stuff, I can see a lot more of like these patterns. Um, and I think the important thing that like a lot of people will get like super interested in knowing their attachment, but then they'll use it as an excuse. And that's something I definitely want to advocate for is like, it's important to recognize these patterns in yourself and then instead of using it as an excuse, use it to better understand yourself and how you interact with other people and maybe, use it to change and develop yourself. That or the first cuz I am detached with some people but they might just be anxious. Yeah, it's definitely different. I would say like I think it'll be different depending on the person too. Like I completely agree with that because I feel like some people have had more anxious attachment kind of vibes, but then other times I've had more of something else. Um, and I think it can definitely adjust to people. But I would say more so like I've identified with something else more than the anxious one. Um, I mean, as I'm sure you can tell, the secure attachment, the very first one, is the most healthy attachment. And even though like if you are like, hey, I feel like I'm a little bit of the anxious attachment, like that's not set in stone. Just because you went through that type of childhood and just because you interact with relationships like that now, just like the personality test we talked about, things can change. You can alter this, like it's not like something that you can't change. And I think that's pretty much how psychology works in general. Like you're not defined as an absolutely bad person. You're not stuck being someone who's emotionally immature. You're not stuck being someone with anxious attachment. Like it's not something you just have to live with and you got to cope with. Yeah, some people wear it like a badge of honor, exactly, or it just being quirky instead of it having some unhealthy effect on their relationships. Literally, exactly. I know so many people who do that, and it frustrates me so much. Like, I knew one person, they went into deeply into researching like attachment styles. They found out they were one of them, and then they used it as a crutch. Instead of working on it and doing better, they got mad at me for not catering to their attachment, which is insane. That's an insane thing to do. But yeah, some people are like that. They'll use this information and then they'll use it to defend themselves, and that's not how it's meant to be used. Um, it's important to recognize like, oh, I do these things. Wow. Oh, 1 second. Okay, sorry. My father was speaking to me. Um, I was anxious early life, but I'm definitely different now. Exactly. Like you can change and you can adapt to different styles. Um, which ties back to emotional immature. Exactly. It's all coming together full circle. Yeah. That's what kind of why I wanted to like pair some of these videos together because I was like, "Oh, this kind of goes along with that." Like it's a lot about knowing yourself, knowing the people around you, changing, working on actively listening to somebody and all those things like they all connect. That's what I love about psychology is it all connects and so do the mental disorders and stuff. um yeah, I don't know. Like I love how beautifully it all intricately in, in, intricately in intric I can't say it. Anyways, how it all like goes together, you know? And that's what I love about psychology, honestly. You can use it and it all just teaches you more about yourself, and it teaches you more about like how you can positively improve your mental health and stuff, not only for yourself but also for other people around you. Um and unfortunately, sometimes people will learn all these things and then use it as an excuse, which really saddens me, because the point of learning about mental health is to help yourself and to help others around you, not just be like, oh, well, I do all these toxic traits. Oh, well, guess I'm just toxic. Ah ha ha. Like, no, no. um, but yeah, I don't know. I think that's, again, like we were talking about, the difference between emotional immaturity and and emotional maturity. So it sometimes helps me to pronounce stuff if I write it down. Oh, bet. I might have to do that. I also can't spell, though. That's the problem. um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents.
You may have an insecure attachment style that's interfering with your relationships. It's important to talk to a mental health professional who can help you identify what you may be experiencing and how you can support yourself through it.
Mm-hmm.
Do any of the attachment styles sound familiar
Exactly.
to you? Tell us about it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it with
Intricately.
others who may find
There
it
you go.
helpful too.
Thank you.
All the references used
Appreciate
are
you.
also added in the description box below. Don't forget to subscribe to Psych2Go and hit the notification icon for more
Yeah.
videos.
I don't know. Yeah. I love Psych2Go and their content. They make amazing content. It's very educational. They do their research. They provide. I can't show you because it'll leak my entire government name. But in their descriptions of their videos, which I do have linked in the pinned message, they actually describe like what research they did, where they got this information and stuff. I mean, there's all their ads right there for you. They have a Facebook. What is that? Is that a? I see Twitter. I don't know what the first two are. I think the first one is Patreon, and then the second one is Tumblr. I think. Pendle Barrington the third. Yeah, exactly. It's gonna leak my whole legal name. Um, Noted that I probably came off as egotistical or arrogant a while ago and decided I didn't want to be that. And you know, that's a big step to take, is to be able to acknowledge that. Like that's huge. I mean, not a lot of people are able to do that. And that's just huge, honestly. And you know, making that decision to change, to do better and not come off like that is also big. Um yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's awesome. Like that's definitely something to be proud of. Um, yeah, I mean, actively acknowledging something and then being able to do something about it is huge. It's way bigger than, you know, someone might give you credit for, or you might give yourself credit for, you know. And I think you can kind of, maybe you can kind of relate to that in the sense of like someone else changing to be nicer to you, you know? Like, if you could think of any example where someone realized, like, oh man, I talked to you in a nasty way. I'm really sorry about that. Like, you know, you can sit there and be like, oh wow, like that actually meant a lot to me. And like, you can reflect on how that made you feel. And that's how it's going to be if you do it to somebody else, you know? Um, yeah. I just think psychology is so fascinating, and especially mental health. Um, so I just received a notice that I am actually going to have to leave earlier than I planned. I think the venue's a lot farther. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do Sims. If I get home early enough, I might announce that I'm going to play some Sims tonight, so maybe we'll have two different streams. But I think for today I'm going to end it here. Let me go ahead and switch over. I'm going to be over here for a minute. Just bear with me. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna end it here though, because I don't wanna only play like a couple minutes of Sims. I apologize. I know we talked about doing Sims. I thought I had more time because the wedding is at 5, I believe. So I guess I thought I would have like at least an hour, but I guess it is kind of far. So yeah, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me and talking and sharing experiences today. I really do appreciate it. I actually, honestly, I was a little nervous because I don't do a lot of like just talking streams a lot. So, I don't know. It's like anyone else who also streams knows like how difficult it can be to kind of get on here and just talk. I don't really talk about my personal experiences very often either. I don't really like to go into too much detail. I don't want to like traumatize anybody else or, make my problems someone else's problems. Not because like I don't want to talk about my feelings, but more so like I just want this to be like I guess a calm and inviting environment and I don't mind and I know I can talk about my experiences, but I mostly just like to keep it to myself. Or I'll just talk to my close friends about it or family. Like, I definitely have people I talk to, for sure. Thanks for having us. It's always a good time here. Hell yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad. Well, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. I will definitely update you in the Discord. If we are going to stream anymore, tonight. Here's the Discord. If you're, never mind, it's not working. Hold on. Is it socials now? Yeah, okay. You can click there and then find the Discord there. Teehee. Um, but yeah. I'll definitely give an update there if I decide to stream again tonight. I think this is pretty fun. I might do a couple more videos this month. I think it could be nice. I definitely have more videos to go through. I didn't get to some of my heavier topics, so maybe we could do that next time. But I feel like the flow was very good today. We had a nice little consecutive concepts, and they all like intertwined and stuff. It was pretty cool. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me go ahead and find somebody for us to raid, so that way you guys can have somebody to watch after me. um, if I can find my Twitch, that'd be great. Let me mute the tab so I don't hear myself twice. Solid flow, that's what I'm saying. I think Neandra's like, I think you're right. I think you're right. Let's see. I honestly haven't rated him in a long time. He hasn't been on the same time I am. Let me just double check. Okay, yeah, I'm probably gonna rate him, honestly. The silly goober himself. Silly goober incarnate. Oh, what is he playing? He's playing with Alti right now. Oh my god, it's like taking forever to load. Oh, they just started. That's perfect. That's so perfect. They're playing. Oh, they're playing Split Fiction. Okay, I don't want to watch too much of this because I want to do it myself. Definitely. Can't wait to fail at that game. But yeah, I think I'm gonna raid them. Definitely go check out Jan and Alti for sure. Let me set up the raid. Gotta make sure I'm spelling his name right, just in case. Okay, fire. Alright, we got the raid set up. Again, I appreciate everybody hanging out with me today. Thanks for chatting and thanks for lurking. I really appreciate it. I'm glad we could have this like mental health conversation. Please make sure to take care of yourself. Drink water. I will be drinking water today. Don't you worry. I'm gonna do it off stream and everything. Yeah, and I hope you guys enjoy Split Fiction with Janjo and Alti. Thank you for stream. Have a good rest of your day. You too. You too. All right. I will see you guys sometime, either later today or tomorrow. Don't know. Thank you for the water redeem. I will see you guys later. Bye bye.